Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to
Hello.
this week's episode of the podcast. I didn't tell you guys I
Thanks
was
for telling
starting.
us you were online.
Good start to the podcast. Just like NA. Good week one. But yeah, this is week 2 of the LCS podcast. I'm your host, William. With me today, I have Brian
Hello.
and Ryan.
Hello.
And we had a pretty shaky first week. Not as bad as my Brazilian predictions of 2-6, but pretty shaky nonetheless.
First week is always a toss.
First week is very tough all the time.
And my day one was sick.
Yeah. Like right here, we're looking at day 1. Lots of red. Me and Brian got the first 2 games wrong. My condition.
Got one though.
Yeah, my condition was I flipped to Team Liquid on my picks because Fire came in. Ryan stayed against Team Liquid in both games. Did not matter at all because they went 1-1. So no matter what happened, we were gonna go 1-1. But
I was a man of my word.
Mm-hmm.
I told him. I literally said, "Hey, Fire's gonna be playing. Are you gonna stick with not Team Liquid?" And I said, "No, only Broxa."
Yep. No, I decided I was like, okay, I'm only flipping on if Pobelter is the jungler. Either way, did not matter. 1-1 for both of us, and yeah, and then we all lost CLG. We all won 100 Thieves. We were good at that. And then me and Ryan won FlyQuest. Brian's only win of week 1 or day 1 was 100
Yeah,
Thieves.
I was gonna say I definitely didn't only win that one.
That
but
was that was almost just a streak of red for all of us.
Yeah, because that 100
we
Thieves
won
was
the,
real close that game.
the very tough 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians pick. I mean, yeah, it was a close game.
It
But
was
like,
very close. If we would have lost that pick, my God, it was a
I'd
lot
been
of
05
sloppy
first
play.
day.
Yeah, oh wow, that's a
we
rough
were
game.
all fools, man. We were all fools. All of us bought into CLG, and we ended up setting ourselves up
Hey,
for failure.
I put CLG 7. Thank you very much. And I also was the only one to pick FlyQuest against CLG. And that's where I won the week with my 5 wins because I believed
got
in
3?
FlyQuest. Yeah, you got 3 to start. A little bit of a rough start, but you
I
can
was-
make it back.
I
Only
was
down
really
2, though.
upset. I was super upset that I didn't end up picking FlyQuest over CLG. I was thinking of that as like my quote upset.
Yeah.
For my but I decided to just go with my power rankings, except for TL who didn't have a complete roster. And didn't worked out a little bit at the beginning. Did not work out by the end.
Yeah. Idol says that he did not believe in CLG and he wants his pick to matter. Idol, your pick does matter in my heart.
I do. He's probably beating me in predictions.
Yeah, how'd you go this week, Idol? I actually want to know. Our prediction overview was week 1. I went 5-5. Brian went 3-7. And Ryan went 4-6. So, not great. We're usually much better at that. That's not even my 66% meme, man. That's 50%.
50%.
I know. Ugh. And
to be
it
fair,
won.
it-
And it
yeah.
won.
To be fair, in NA, you really
Yeah.
can't really can't go the 66% for the full meme.
Yeah, that's also true. But
Yeah. With all y'all's faith in
NA.
EG, it makes sense that you go 50-50.
That's true. But yeah, let's talk about the games. We have just spoiling Ryan's notes there. Real
Oh
quick.
no!
Hey, look at that, Brian.
Surprise.
Little channel points. But yes. Game number 1 was between C9 and Team Liquid. C9 kind of dominated this whole game, I thought. Like, even though like Team Liquid got the first Drake and had those 2 kills, like around what was it? I believe
It was the second dragon.
Second dragon, sorry. Second dragon, but it was like the 12-minute ish mark. They got 3 kills total, but outside of that, nothing else was really working for Team Liquid from that moment on. Like everything, it's the freaking Vigar. We're going back to Vigar from Worlds against SKT and against Fun Plus Phoenix. This champion is obnoxious.
Or just last split when it was Jensen versus Niski.
That's true. That's true.
That against the Corki.
Yeah, it's just an obnoxious champion. I hate seeing Vigar
I love
because
Vigar,
it
man.
works.
Vigar's-
It works really well. It's the cage. The cage is so broken.
He's super balanced. Are you kidding me? He sit there and farm and then just blow you up.
Yeah, I think there's definitely worse champions to deal with than Vigar, but max rank on that cage with like 45% cooldown makes it like a 6-second cooldown or something like that. Because it goes on cooldown when it casts, not when it disappears. So
I can't remember. I think C9 got Cloud. Did they get Cloud Soul this game?
I don't know, but technically that wouldn't affect it because it's only ultimate
Yeah,
cooldown. But
I mean, move speed.
well,
Is
it's move
good.
speed, move speed. Yeah, that's true. Actually, no, because Vigar just ults you and you're dead. Where does he have to go now? But yeah, he's very obnoxious. When Vigar gets ahead, he's super obnoxious. If he falls behind, though, he's really worthless.
Licorice just kind of had a whoopsie. He had a whoopsie. He's like, oh, is everyone's mid because they're gonna try to push mid turret with the Rift Herald, and then said, oh, hold on, they might be doing Dragon. Hold on, I'll go down and check. Oops, all 3 of them are in this bush.
Yep, they're all there.
Yeah, and then they ended up getting Dragon. When C9, they didn't try to go too much after that, and then Licorice Ships solo killed Impact in the bot lane, rotated up top lane, helped them kill Jensen in the mid lane, and then they just kind of ran away with it. I think a lot of people were kind of giving Surenfire flack for this game too, saying, "Oh, well, it's clear jungle difference," but I mean, TL just didn't look that good. They did not look sharp at all. Cloud9 just kind of looked like they were just way more on point with how to actually play out the game. I don't like the random like freaking steal your girl lane with Senna Thresh when they're already showing Aphelios Tahm Kench, because Thresh into Tahm Kench is a little troll. I'm not sure exactly what you want to do there. When Braum was up, Braum actually would have been pretty decent in this last jump, and it's worked pretty well with Senna. And blind picking Azir after what ended up being like, I guess you could say technically 10 mid takeaways in the bans, if you count stuff like Ornn.
Kinda.
But even so, it was literally 5 essentially mid lane bans from Team Liquid.
Yeah, that is true.
And then they took Azir in the first round of the second pick phase, but they picked Azir, and then it's like okay, Veigar, Aatrox blind, and then you pick Mordekaiser into it. You give counter pick to Impact, you pick Mordekaiser into it, and Licorice just basically just destroys him in lane in a skill matchup.
Yep, I agree. I thought it was not a good draft overall. Like, Team Liquid looked like a team that only had a few days practice, which they did together, and just. It was a good
excuse.
It was a clean win from C9. Like, it was a clean win from C9. I wasn't expecting much from Team Liquid though. Personally, I thought they were going to lose both games at the time. Like when we were initially making predictions because of this issue. But I think that they looked much better in game 2. But they still looked sloppy. But then they got it together. And I just want to mention Idol mentioned that before we start, we should have paid respect to the player. I'm absolutely going to talk about the LPL at the end of the podcast for sure. That's messed up. The LPL, if people didn't know, is like suspended indefinitely. We don't know when they will come back because of the coronavirus. That stuff's really scary. We'll talk about that towards the end though, for sure. Because LPL, like I said, has always been my favorite league, my favorite one to analyze and everything.
Just best wishes and good health to all those guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. Next game was Dig versus CLG. Dig found the damn fountain of youth we talked about last podcast. Holy shit, man! They destroyed CLG. CLG was hanging in there, like Ryan, me and Ryan talked about previously. You guys were hanging in there at the beginning, but man,
we always do.
It was close until it wasn't.
First 15 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, man, that. Johnson looked really good. Aftermoon looked really good. Froggen looked really good and bought that Lich Bane that we usually want to see on Silas, but you very good on Victor as well. Huni looked great. Like, everyone looked really good on Dig. It was so surprising. And on the opposite end, CLG looked bad. Like, I'm hoping it's the same type of situation with Team Liquid where, because we had heard rumors about Crown, he did get the start, but we don't know how much practice he's had as well. Like, because he had a lot of visa issues coming back.
And specifically, apparently, like all of their scrims in practice were being done with Tuesday if rumors are to be believed. They were pretty much banking on Tuesday starting for the team, and that's who all they practice with. So, grain of salt. But even so, like unless Crown was like such a pivotal role for this team, and granted it is mid lane, and mechanically he seemed like he was fine. Like he didn't make like boneheaded mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't completely off. But like but yeah, the team itself didn't seem super proactive beyond like some maybe early plays like in the lane phase, and once the mid game hit, like Dignitas just kind of turned it on.
Yeah, that's
Got
what. Go ahead, bro.
new coach, mid laner they can practice with. I'm giving them. I've told William this. I haven't really talked to you, Ryan. I'm giving them till week 3, and if they are below, if they're below 500 at week 3, I'm going to be a Dig fan this year.
you're cutting ties.
Jumping on the Froggen bandwagon, huh?
It's time to stop. Is all I can say.
Well, they do have Aframu, so it works out.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I liked CLG in the first place.
Yeah, it's just the thing that worries me about CLG, and we'll talk about in their next game as well, is that they are doing the do nothing style, which is very bad in this meta. I feel like
The NA style.
it's but it's not good.
The Nayram.
Yeah, exactly what Idol just said. Did it not seem that CLG was playing slow as hell? I.e. the old splice.
No, we'll get to the old splice when we get to TSM.
I want to talk about that as well. But like that style is really outdated. It's just outdated now. And even though the games are going longer, they're longer with more aggression usually until we get to a certain game. but
one of the few I actually got to see the whole thing of.
That's why you didn't watch them all. You were just like, I'm leaving now.
You know how to pick them, right?
Yeah, and like, but that's even though the games are going longer, it's longer with more aggression. There's more team fighting, obviously playing around the Baron or the Elder a lot, or just the Dragon Soul, I should say. A lot more Baron fights, but not really more Barons. It's kind of weird on that sense. It's like teams are only going for Baron when they win a decisive victory, like fight, which is kind of interesting to see. But we'll talk about that especially with the other game coming up in this list. This one, apparently, I'm going to refresh, but apparently we're not getting match history. Yep, we're not going to get a match overview from this.
Well, I just want to give one more just quick little thing on Dignitas. I would say, especially for this team, and I said it right now, had a lot of question what exactly is this team supposed to do to win? But really, and it even had a lot of caveats where I'm like, well, if Johnson shows up and he's actually looks pretty good for a rookie, if Aframu comes back into form, if Grigg and Froggen look good, if Hooney is in a coin flip, then yeah, maybe this team can do something. And lo and behold, there it is. All your question marks have now turned into periods. Like, no, this team is solid, and none of the parts of the map look like a strict weakness, and the entire team as a whole actually plays really well. And that's, I think, what makes them the scariest team, because now you have a lot of veterans and you have just strict mechanical strength as well.
Yeah, they played very well this week. It was very, I want to say surprising, but we also did bring it up that there is potential for it was just those question marks we didn't know type situation.
It is 1 week. It is 1 week.
It is only 1 week. It is only 1 week. Yep.
And they did play CLG.
Yeah, which we don't know CLG.
Hey, you said it yourself. They did not look very good.
I know.
Yes.
You're talking about like maybe what, like less than half a week of practice.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
The next game we had was 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians. And this game, of all the games I really wanted to show the match history or the match overview of, let me try and pull it up over here one more time. Maybe it'll help me out. Be nice.
While you're pulling that up, I'll just say, speaking of teams and junglers in particular that don't seem to have the best grasp on how to attack the meta currently.
Yeah, this was a kind of a weird game. It was very back and forth. I thought Closer played very well. I was very glad to see his opening game be this strong. We got to talk about it, though. We all know what I'm going to bring up here. How'd you feel about Keith's support?
Not great.
This is also the game where he flashed with the miss. It's unfortunate. You can't throw too much shade at him for it, but it's really rough in your first game when you already have a lot of question marks going at you. He flashed from the Rift Herald pit with a misfortune Q ricochet on him, and then it killed him, and then it killed
Hey, I can't
FBI
blame him for
behind.
that. I flash away from like point and clicks all the time
Yeah,
and
yeah,
die.
yeah, but it's not just that it killed him; it ricocheted onto his ADC and killed FBI as well because of it.
I didn't see that. I didn't see this game.
If I didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Oh
Right.
yeah, it was FBI's
Well,
only death
I
of the
saw
game.
what I saw was the scoreboard. It was only 3-3 at the end of it, so it's fine. It's
Yeah.
all worth then.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, in between this game and I think I'll probably get into it maybe with the second game especially. I thought for a guy who's literally on probably his first real stage game in a while, not counting some of the ones he's did for Academy and the random ones where he was subbed in with the entire Academy roster, like from C9 before. Like his first real game as an actual full time starter and doing so in a completely new role that he just came into on the off season. I think he looked fine.
Oh,
I thought he was not terrible.
Well,
I don't think
did you check his vision score or vision score per minute?
oh my god, the wars.
Abysmal.
Let's not get into this, man.
let's
Talk about some solo queue stuff now.
maybe
But
maybe
but-
little
I'm
spoiler
saying, like,
for
especially
future
in terms
pod.
of the eye test, if you watched it, and especially in a lot of engages too, and I think this is kind of what they might have been hoping for with this guy. He actually had some pretty decent, pretty decent, like Braum ult usage. There are a lot of times where like they would be attacking on one side, and he would immediately cut off like the other four members from 100 Thieves in a choke point off on the other side. And I think that's a lot of things that's something that people aren't really kind of narrowing on. That it's easy to focus on the mistakes and things that could have been better. But I think for a guy in a situation that he's in, being completely new to a role, and I think I'm not going to say benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying that he should have probably gotten the start over a lot of academy supports. Um, but I think he wasn't terrible. I think he was far from the reason why Golden Guardians lost. It's not like I'm going to put Diamond from Academy and I'm going to put him in there with FBI, and then all of a sudden Golden Guardians they're top 4.
Oh
It's
no,
not,
no,
it's
no.
not, yeah, so it's not they're and maybe they win this game, maybe not.
Yeah,
But I
this,
think that
this game
they're
was
out,
a toss up. So it was.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of Ornn?
I like Ornn a lot because I think that games are going longer right now. I also super biased. I love my tanks. I love a team fighting tank all day. And then but I do also like that it goes longer. It results into a late game team fighter. It's very strong there. And it gives you 6 items to buy, which it results into a roughly 3k gold difference on just free items, and that can turn the tides in some late game team fights. I think personally.
plus a lot of long range pick potential as well,
Yes.
which we see like in the next C9 game that ends up becoming it's like a huge potential win condition for a lot of teams. Just a lot of long safe engage. But it
That's
also
true.
I also want to say it depends. What lane are you playing the Ornn in?
Top.
Ornn top I think is okay.
I don't
I
like
think
it.
I think it's okay. I think it's exploitable. I think it's not something you can really safely pick early into a draft.
I'd say like this game. Sorry for cutting you off.
No,
This
go ahead.
GP, even though Ornn is giving his team that invisible 3k gold lead, this GP is going to do more than that Ornn ever will. And also,
Because
I
he
mean,
prints his own money.
he does. He prints his own
GP
money.
did have a 7k gold lead over Ornn.
Yeah.
Also, with dragons now, does it show dragons right there?
Yes.
Not really.
Yes.
With dragons, Dragon Soul actually Golden Guardians
Golden
had
Guardians
more
got
dragons.
all 4. They got all 4 dragons and then lost the Elder.
Yeah, well anyway, if you have the Ornn and your jungler is slacking off that 3k gold lead, oh, they have a mountain shield, so that extra damage
It's gone.
it's just negated, so I don't like it.
I will say one thing too, kind of going back into like, the actual gameplay in terms of arguments 2 and 4 other players. There are several points in this thing where Haunter just straight up fucking sucked on Ornn. He goofed so many charges. I remember he threw he threw one of the little pillars over the wall, and then charged directly into the wall. He threw the pillar over, as if he thought he would go over the wall. he charged and he just ran face first into walls when he would have gotten like multi-man knockups several times, and the enemy team wasn't even close.
Yeah,
Haunter's Aura did not look good.
You gotta have a good aura. That's with every champion. You gotta have a good champion
Yeah,
for it to look
and the
good.
other side, you have someday on GP.
Yeah.
So
Tough matchup.
yeah, like I said, who sorry, I almost called him who he. Cause I forgot he was a role swap support too. Keith was definitely by far not the only problem with GG this game.
No, absolutely not. Moving on to the next game, we have
Day 2.
Nope. Oh, day 2. I thought you said Dig. I'm like, nope, not Dig. FlyQuest versus Immortals. By the way, that confused me. Like, only 4 games. I totally forgot there wasn't a 5th game. I'm like,
You weren't the only one. The analyst has thought so too. Mark C was very confused.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I didn't see that. But FlyQuest versus Immortals. FlyQuest, Immortals started out okay. I think the Trundle pick is insanely troll. I know it's been talked about a lot. Yeah, unintended.
Also, Viper on his one-trick champion.
Yeah, Viper on Riven is also true. There's a lot of bad draft here, which is usually inexcusable. Same with Team Liquid. Against C9, bad drafting is the only thing you can really do often in the off season. You know what I mean? Like you got like as much time as possible to prepare for a draft, but like to give I guess it's a little different Team Liquids, but to give Viper's Riven, it's not like this is an unknown thing. Viper plays really well on Riven.
It's not like Viper's playing like, oh, he has his pocket pick. He's just been spamming solo queue with, I don't know, Aurelia, and he's just smurfing on it. It's his Riven.
It's his top lane Quinn. It's coming out.
It's exactly. Always Riven.
And as we all know, Trundle is the counter pick to Quinn.
Yeah. Trundle is like, he's great with a tank on the team, and he'll actually be really good with the buffs coming in. Have you seen those? Like, they're pretty gross, but his W buffs are gonna be disgusting.
Oh yeah, the huge move speed buffs.
Yeah, that's not fun. But there's no tank. What are you stealing stats from here? Like,
I think they're using it for the zone. Like
it's like not just peel, but also like zone control, and it's like pick potential
team
too.
Fighting, yeah. That's what I'm seeing. You got an Aatrox coming in. They can't get away from the pillar. They get knocked up. You got the Lucian to give him the back massager, like Cassio stun. I don't know.
I remember someone tweeted out. I think it was actually Vulcan tweeted out. Says, "Man, if my top side pick was freaking Aatrox, Trundle, Lucian, I would just go next."
Yeah, well, like my issue is also you have no range in this comp, and you're going against Victor and Senna. You're gonna get poked down before you can even get there. Before the pillar even gets in range.
PoE on a mage, like, come on, man.
I'm on a control mage too.
Yeah.
Like it's just FlyQuest played well. I think they got everything they wanted in the draft. I think that you got Ignar's Blitzcrank, you got Power Vivo on a control mage, you got Viper on Riven. Like you got pretty much everything you wanted there.
Yeah. I didn't get everything I wanted. There was no Lich Bane on that Victor.
That is true.
But it was Viper's birthday. He got that birthday buff, and he got a birthday present. And he got his Riven. FlyQuest has their new little program where every kill they get, they plant a tree. Every Ocean Dragon they get, they plant 10 trees. And then every win they get, they plant 100 trees.
That's awesome, by the way. That is some great marketing. Just like great.
Are you ever going to root against FlyQuest?
I know, right?
You're rooting against nature. Also, Viper said, "Oh man, that's nice. You guys gave me my Riven. Here, I'll give you guys a present too. I'll put you all in the grave early."
Yeah.
This dude, like literally, this game was kind of like the CLG game from earlier, where it was kind of close. Immortals was actually making some decent moves, counter moves here and there, and then all of a sudden, Viper just went in, stunned 3 people, then they all died. And the game just kind of ran away from there.
So clean. That was close to being play of the week. The next game we had was Dignitas versus Evil Geniuses. And oh my god, this game was a panic button. We called Evil Geniuses perfectly, I think, after seeing both games. They are as coin flippy as you are going to get. They are 100% a coin flip every game. Caps or craps, like that is this team as a whole. But
It didn't start that way though. It actually started pretty decently for EG.
I guess you're right. They got
Easy
first blood
for Svenskeren. Where camera just kind of focused on him. He was taking Raptors. All of a sudden, he's just flying. He flash over and he just kills Froggen.
Yep, that is true. That is true. But then,
and then,
the rest of the game was, in my opinion, on Svenskeren. This is a pick I cannot stand. Me and Brock always message each other when Svenskeren goes on Gragas. He's one of the worst Gragases I've seen. I'm sorry.
Hey, man.
I don't know why he keeps picking him.
He beat TL in the regular season last split, and he was styling on Gragas.
Okay. That's like one time.
There's a decent sample size, yeah. And he doesn't always pull through on that.
There's a decent sample size of a lot of confusing plays. Because Svenskeren is very aggressive, like you've said before. If his team's behind, he still goes in. If you do that on AP Gragas, you die in like 1 second. And that's kind of what happened a lot.
He can heal with his W.
He can heal with his W.
And he gets damage reduction.
We're saving it for mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Idol asked in the chat, what did Bang do that entire game?
Yeah, it is true. Bang, hey, he went 1-0. He didn't die. How much damage did Bang do? He did 12 damage.
Bang ended up having a perfect KDA, I think, between both.
I think he did too.
Both games, which is sick. So did Sven.
But yeah,
but
Johnson
Sven was a little better.
Johnson, I'm telling you straight up. I said it from LPL. I said it from I'll say it in EU probably. I'm talking about that. Senna, for some weird reason, in my opinion, is way better in pro play than Aphelios. Like way better. And I thought Aphelios coming into preseason, like they showed how complex Aphelios is gonna be. And I'm like, this guy's gonna be busted in pro play because you have to be a very highest of high level player, I believe, to fully maximize every single little detail about this champion. And I thought the pros were gonna get that. Aphelios kind of sucks at pro play, to be honest. All he really has is the flamethrower ult and the sniper shot. But
not really. I would say probably actually, Sven actually showed this a lot. C9, by the way, just single-handedly raising that Aphelios win rate with the 2-0 this week.
Yeah, that is.
But it was. He used it. The one I know he used a lot was the Gravitum, the gravity gun ultimate, where he applied to a bunch of people and then root them all.
Okay, yeah, I agree. That should be better. That should be used more than it is, because almost every other pro play I've noticed is really just the flamethrower ult and the sniper shot that they do, and maybe the turret chakrams a little bit, but not too much because they're not usually that close range.
And apparently I know the sniper shot's not going to be a thing for too much longer.
They're gonna gut it completely.
Yeah, where it's not going to be a global thing. It's going to be only 2,000 units.
Yeah, and it's going to be way less damage too on it, which
thankfully,
thank God, because I hate it.
But now they just need to fix Senna.
Yeah, Senna,
which apparently they are.
Yeah, they are.
They absolutely do that.
Yeah, so.
Dig
looked amazing. We talked about it earlier too, but Dig just looked really good this week. I was very impressed. Now, my only concern is CLG. We did CLG. You know, we've been here how many years now, and they're still CLG. They're nothing. Well, they had a good year last year, but then playoffs.
What are you talking about?
But then playoffs happened.
Well, hey, now they had a good split last year.
They had a good split. They
had a good split.
And then playoffs happened, and you're like, oh, CLG's back. And then
one of the main things, I wish they didn't get rid of Irene. I don't think he had a great week this week. Is he Golden Guardians coach or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Irene and Artemis. I think they're with Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good split. I liked what they were doing with Weldon not being a league person and Irene as the coach, and then they just got I'm sure he left, but I don't know. Offer him some money. He had a good split. Best split in a while.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That was by far your guy's best split in a while. But yeah, so that, and then we have Evil Geniuses, very coin flippy. So I'm very curious about Dig. Talking about
also getting a Korean mid laner. Sorry, I'm on my pedestal.
All good. Now let's just move on to the next game, and let's just skip this one real quick.
Oh, by the way, quick stat on that Evil Geniuses roster: Cloud9 clowning the entire league.
Yeah.
All the XT9 members in that game went a total of 1, 10, and 0.
Yikes, that's terrible. I will say Kumo does not look good. I'm gonna put that out there. He's
Hey, now let's wait until Monday night. We'll talk about that.
We will talk Monday night. But yeah. So this game, let's make this conversation about this game about a fifth of the time, the 20th of the time that this game took.
No, in honor of this
God,
game,
no.
we're gonna go for an extra hour.
No.
Let's go at 10th max, okay?
This
We haven't
here we
even
go.
gotten past match history.
You go next. This game bad. Bye.
But yeah, TSM started out really hot. Like
IMT outscaled. Go next.
yeah. But
Yeah,
you
that's
shouldn't.
Zoe outscaled.
But you
potentially.
shouldn't have.
That Zoe Ezreal outscaling.
Ezreal
Ezreal
outscaled
skill.
Senna.
Hey, man. Yeah, Ezreal outscaling. The infinite AD Senna, the Elise jungle.
I've never
the
played Senna,
Zoe.
to be fair.
extra range, constant, non-stop extra range.
Literally gives you extra range and extra AD with every soul you pick up. It's like it's
every
literally
20
like,
souls.
It's like Thresh, where like Thresh gets armor and magic resistance
But
for
like
every
way
soul.
more.
But,
Way more.
but instead of that, it's damage and range.
Yeah.
It's-
This should not have happened. As just for our sanity. This game was basically TSM started with a very quick lead to start, like very good start, good play, very aggressive. I've seen. I feel like it's Dardoch, even though he went 0-5, he has brought early game aggression to TSM, which I like to see. And then
get used to that, by the way.
And then they hit 15 minutes and are like, "We're done playing League. we're set. We're satisfied."
Oh my god, it's literally just it's the same mistakes. It's
Every time.
TSM. They make a mistake, and then it's like oh wait, hold on, let's not get too crazy because we might make another mistake.
They get
Okay, if they keep
so
making those
scared.
mistakes, let's look at who's the constant on the TSM team.
Hey
Honestly,
man, hey man,
Mm,
he's
It's-
the greatest of all time. Come on now.
he's part owner. I mean, he's not going anywhere now.
He's not, and
It's like being on old TSM. The owners in the mid lane. What are you gonna do?
it's kind of conversational, but like I felt like it last year as well. I think Bjergsen's still good. He's still good. The issue is
Is he?
that
I think mechanically he's perfectly fine.
mechanically he's still
mechanic.
good.
I think mechanically.
And I agree with that. I think when it comes down to team communication, he has a different view on the game of everyone else, and then because of his status of being Bjergsen in North America, he ends up kind of commanding a lot more than he maybe should.
I think the issue is yes because of that, and because of he went into his prime and lost in his prime to the Korean meta. I mean, a lot of people did, but he was the main thing. Like, this is how we're going to get NA better, is by playing this very safe, pure vision. Everything has to know. If you make a mistake, make sure to pull back. Like, only take plays that are 90% chance to work. The old style league. And he's just
100%
molded.
play style.
Yeah, he has molded his entire career into that, which worked until you realize TSM stopped working as a team around the exact same time the LPL rose up and Korea started not working as well. That style just doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. You have to take team fights. You have to take risky plays. You have to be aggressive. The only reason this game kind of sucked is because Immortals at the same time, like, they won, but did they really? No one won this game, in my opinion.
Alltech won. Alltech was playing like a man.
Alltech failed to command. Okay, Alltech won. No one else on this map won except for Alltech.
We'll get to that. Alltech did win. He actually won the game.
Yeah, he's the only one that deserved the victory screen because the rest of the team played so passive and so safe. The fact that they had Elder Drake, Baron, and 2 inhibs down at one point and backed off from a 5v5 team fight infuriated me. You do not lose that fight 100% of the time. 100% of the time you don't lose. And they played safe, and then they rotated and they waited for next Elder. Then they had 3 inhibs down, no Nexus towers, Elder, Baron, and then they were like, okay, now we'll make a move. And that was the first move in like an hour.
Like, your base is in shambles. You have to go or you lose anyway.
Yeah, like it's neither team wanted to win this game. It was so frustrating to watch.
Neither wanted to win, but everyone just played to not lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Sad. The only people who were even close to not being that way were literally Alltech and then Soaz a couple of times. He was actually man moding a couple times on Aatrox, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's
I will say and I'm the C9 fan here, so no love lost between me and TSM, but I'll give them 3 things. All right. Well, in fact, no, I'll add in an extra one. 4. Early game was good. They were up to in upwards of like 3K gold in the early game, which is
their peak is
nuts.
3.1K.
It's I think it was probably one of the better early game leads up until like 15 minutes that I've seen from one of the teams this weekend, which is great.
Nikki gave me a stat today that TSM has the highest gold lead at 15 minutes on every team. 2K average 2K
and that makes
gold
sense. Yeah, because I say, and they were up because I know, and obviously we'll get to it, but like they were up on TL in the early game as well. So that's good for them. That means they did something. But the first main point is that this team composition has no real engage aside from Darduck.
Yeah, that is true.
Literally nothing else can actually go in on this team, and there is no setup. And your engage option is a Lee Sin. And you have a Rumble. And then you have a LeBlanc.
Was this the one where he Rumble ulted and they just hugged the wall?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. That was also a runner-up for play of the week. Literally just stick to the wall. It even tricked the casters. It's like, oh, they're going to all start melting. Wait, no, they're hugging the wall. They're not good.
And then they didn't go in when the entire team was just sitting on a pixel.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, their whole team fight. There's one where TSM were literally chasing Immortals as like a 5 versus 5, just chasing one group out of the bot side, their blue side jungle, up into top lane, and like they were just getting poked to hell. Everyone on Immortals was like low, probably below half health, and it's like, how in the hell does TSM not just clean everyone up in this fight? And it's like, 1, it's because it's TSM, and 2,
is that top lane you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there was 2 kills for 1.
It's like literally, yeah, they got 2 kills when everyone should have died.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they end up trading, and then they end up losing a kill too. So it was like a 2-for-1 trade. Yep. It should have been an ace.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, they have no real engage, and it's like if you throw a Rumble ult in the freaking open area, they can just walk around it. But it's like, you got to try, and it's TSM, so you got to try something. But my second point, going off away from the draft, is if you're talking about a going late. Trying to play a going late style, slow, let's move past this and let's get to the late game and grind it out slow. I mean, you do have Kabe. We're talking about the old Splice memes that Idol mentioned in the chat earlier. And here we go. Let's get to the 40-minute game where for some reason Kabe is taking all of the farm on Senna when she doesn't really benefit from getting all the farm for herself, but whatever. It's Kabe. Oh, hey, let's go late game. That was what Splice was known for. That was their bread and butter. Was let's keep it late, turtle out if things go wrong, and we'll just out team fight it. Mm-hmm. And the third one was, hey, it's like I said, just like everything else, it's 1 week. It's 2 games. Like the world won't be on fire if TSM goes 0-2. But TSM bad. No, but. Like I said, if we're going to give benefit of the doubt to teams like Team Liquid, and we're going to be cautiously optimistic about C9, and same thing for like CLG here, we could do the same for TSM. Give them benefit of the doubt. Let's see what happens if they get their synergy up, especially between mid jungle. Because I don't know, it feels like, especially in the mid game, Biofrost and Dardoch just never really seemed on the same page. But then again, no one on TSM seemed on the same page.
That's the issue. You have Biofrost and Dardoch and Broken Blade kind of a little bit as well, are all very aggressive players. They're usually not the carry. Obviously, your support and jungle are not going to be the carry in this meta. and then top lane kind of is irrelevant in every situation. But your
That's
two
what should be.
carries, your mid and your ADC have to be on the same page. If everyone goes in and your damage is not there with you, you lost.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's two clashing playstyles here. That's making me really worried.
Oh, here, Brian. Since you asked me about it earlier, about Orin earlier, what do you feel about Rumble Top?
I really like Rumble. I like him better mid, I think. But
That's exactly what my thought was.
I agree
yeah,
with
Like, I know it's a meme from last year, but I feel like Bjergsen should have been the one to take Rumble, and they could have taken something with a bit more engage or CC potential top lane.
yeah,
Even if I don't, because I don't remember, I can't remember the exact draft order either. But it's like even if they had taken something like an Aatrox, probably would have liked it more. Give a dive buddy to your Lee Sin, have Rumble drop an ult while your bruisers are trying to lock people down, and then Senna can just fire shots and Kench can get people out of there if they need to. I feel like it's
Right.
safer that way, but whatever. I don't want to talk about this game anymore.
that. Yeah, we'll move on from that.
I've said the most, and now I'm ending it.
Yeah. We're moving on to Cloud9
Immortals
versus
won.
Golden
Immortals
Guardians.
won. Altec saved our lives. Thank you.
Thank God. Cloud9 versus Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians did start off hot a little bit again. I thought Closer was very, very nice going against Licorice, getting the kill there. And then I believe there was a kill bot lane. And I think Closer did die there, it looked like. But
it wasn't a kill bot lane. It was they managed to get they were able to have a nice setup on the dive top lane between Haunter and Licorice, because I think Haunter managed to get the push early, so he got 6 first.
Yeah.
So and Licorice just dinged 6, but they still managed to get the kill, burn his flash, and they were going top lane. But then Blabber literally was sitting there, and he waited for Closer, and then when Closer was going top for a repeat gank, Blabber just came out and 1v1'd him to death. But FBI shot him with the center ult from bot lane.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next time they went top again, it was a lot sloppier. Licorice kind of outplayed him a bit there, and then they got the center ult, but it was too late. Blabber was there at the Krugs, and then they got 2 kills on both of them. And then at that point, they also picked up Dragon, and then that was kind of where everything fell apart. So again, I think even though Closer went 2-5, I thought he played decently well. Keith went 0-5 again, which was, to be fair to Keith, some of those deaths were because FBI was out of position, and so you die as a support for your ADC, but which never happens when me and Brian play.
yeah, because I'm not going in, and then Will's just so aggressive. He's not. I'm kidding.
But yeah, the Diana didn't work. It kind of looked like Dwayne B's Diana. Didn't work out too well. And
I've yet to see a good Diana.
Yeah, there was
at
one.
Least in pro
there
play.
was one in pro play. I want to remember. I think it was EU. I want to say that had a good one. I don't remember.
Probably like caps or perks.
I don't remember. But outside of it,
I think it was didn't Nemesis play it and it looked like trash.
No, someone else. It looked like trash quite often. I think it's because it's a very snowball or bust type champion, and it has not gotten that snowball off at all yet. But yeah, outside that, T9 pretty much closed out. Pretty dominant performance again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like you said, Sven is just destroying, and Zen and Vulcan were been on really well so far.
Yeah. Blabber and Sven are just Lee Sin, Aphelios one tricks.
And I think everything looks pretty okay on Cloud9 so far. I'm pretty happy.
So far. Cautiously optimistic. It's only week 1.
It is only week 1, exactly.
They played Golden Guardians into TL at not full strength, but still good job to beat 80% of TL.
And it was still at least probably it was kind of funny that the Golden Guardians game lasted longer than the TL game.
Yeah.
The TL game was literally less than 25 minutes.
It was a complete snowball destroy.
Yeah, you can put that as your clickbait title. TL done?
TL is done so?
No.
Roxa stays in Europe?
If we're going to clickbait anything, it's going to be TSM. For sure, TSM gets more views, I guarantee it. Next game was FlyQuest versus CLG, and I want to talk about the tiniest thing that completely irritates me. Ignar and Wild Turtle got into the champ select in the wrong order.
Jesus.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, they're rookies. They haven't been doing this for very long.
They're pulling a G2, man. They're role swapping.
The roll swap ignores the Leona ADC.
I'm the carry now.
Yeah, that's how it feels like when you play Leona sometimes. But man, Leona, I love
That's
Leona.
what it feels like when you play Leona.
No, it's not just me. It's every Leona. Okay. Aftershock W is 100% execution rate no matter what, I swear. And but yeah, this was a bad game by CLG, but it was bad all the way. It was really bad the first 2 kills. Do we need to talk about Wiggly's engage in the mid lane?
Oh my god.
Oh.
I wanted to vomit.
I'll talk about it because I think there's something that a lot of people may have missed because they're too busy watching Wiggly Int.
Ruin
What?
was there.
Ruin being
literally running
halfway down the
Yeah.
river?
Yeah,
Not even being close?
it screams to yeah because he hadn't even reached like that little brush on the top side river yet near mid lane. But it's like that just screams like this guy like they were not communicating this properly.
No.
Or he said like I'm coming and he just
Like,
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
there, I'm
We
there.
I've been there. I've
I'm
been
there.
there in our
You can go.
normals. We're also silver gold level.
He's like you could go. I'm there. It's like
Yeah.
oh, good.
Yeah.
It's like, and then he just walks back top lane. He says like GG, go next.
Stupid jungler.
I'm glad they put Ruin on a champion that suits his playstyle. They didn't put him on freaking Ornn. That's why I brought up the Ornn thing.
Yeah,
I want to
Ruin's
see
more
Ruin
aggressive.
on Ornn.
Yeah, but Wiggly had a terrible game. Stixay had a terrible. I thought Stixay would be good on Senna. He's good on Caitlyn. Like, it seems like a good fit, but
Well, Caitlyn's much more about like high range, high DPS champion.
that's true.
Senna's much more utility.
That is true.
She is a support ADC.
She still puts.
Yeah,
a
I
lot
want her
of
to
damage.
be. I was excited for a support marksman.
She's
not
getting nerfed
another
hard
ADC.
because they want her to
Thank
be a
Yeah.
support.
God.
Yeah,
She-
they're making it so her soul kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier. Since apparently, it's still something I'm learning too about how she works.
Mhm.
Basically, like they have like minions and monsters drop souls and stuff.
Yep.
Well, apparently they made it so that cannon minions drop a soul 100% of the time
Yep.
when Senna kills it. So that makes Senna ADC great because you want to last at the cannons, or if you have a melee support, if they Targons hit it and execute it, it gives you the soul
Yep.
and the gold because it counts as Senna getting the CS,
Mm-hmm.
which is nuts. But now they're changing it so that instead of it being 100% of the time a cannon gives you a soul, which gives, like I said, it gives Senna at bonus AD, bonus crit, and bonus range. Like this makes it so that instead of being 100% of the time, I think they're like at least the notes for right now is that they're going to dropping it to 2%, and instead they're raising it the rate of souls dropped by minions that Senna does not kill to like 25%.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it so that it generates faster if Senna is not actively CSing.
Yep.
Which
That-
so
which
they're trying to
is
push
a
her
smart.
away
Which
from
is
AD.
smart. Which is smart. That's what I really like to see. Yeah, but CLG this whole game looked terrible in my opinion. I'm sorry. They just looked like.
Oh no, I watched
It's
it.
from the
It was
very
a horrible
beginning with
game.
Wiggly engaged
I
was
was
like
done
that.
after that. I was like, alright.
I feel like CLG
Alright.
was as well because
Yeah.
that game
This
was a blowout from there on out.
This was literally this is like where you get a scrim and it's like within the first 3 minutes you're like, okay, let's remake.
Yeah.
Handshake remake, that was bad. No one's getting good practice out of this.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will say this though, freaking Ignar's Leona was nuts.
Yeah,
He
Ignor's
was
played as
actually-
Blitzcrank and Leona so far, and I love
Yeah.
it.
His Leona I think was a lot better than his Blitz.
It's also
Leona
Leona is also
Leona is
superb.
like super meta right now. I thought Blitz was great because it's a nice little callback. But I'll say kind of under the radar too, and I think kind of goes with Froggen. Though maybe not so much Froggen. Froggen had a few more highlight plays, and he ended up being player of the week. But I think Power of Evil, especially we're getting into this meta where players are playing like Aphelios and Senna a lot more. These more low wave clear 80 carries, like going into like a more control mage meta where you need a lot more wave clear in the mid lane. That's going to fit these guys a lot more than how it was before when you're talking about Aurelias and Akalis and everything else.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Also, not a single misfortune.
Yeah.
Yes, there was. Cody-san.
Oh yeah, Cody with double tap.
Was it against the Felios?
It's against.
I
No, it's against Varus.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
because
it's
that was that
super
was
counter
Keith
to Aphelios, by
on
the way.
Braum. It was Varus Braum.
Yeah, super counter to Aphelios. We learned in the LPL, and
Super counter.
we immediately brought it to me and Brian. Brought it immediately to solo queue. It works very easily.
yeah, just stomp.
It's very easy to stomp Aphelios with Misfortune. All right, wrap these two games up quickly.
That just seems odd because I don't know. It just never
It's
seems like
'cause
there's not much in her kit that really does that.
He can't get out of the bullet range. If you E him,
that's true.
if he can't get out of the ult without burning
Oh
flash.
man, it's the mobility meta.
It is.
The mobility power creep.
That's
That's why Senna and Aphelios are totally balanced, guys.
Yep.
They could have everything else in this game, but as long as they don't have a dash, it's fine.
That's good. The next game was the coin flipped heads for Evil Geniuses, and they popped off.
That's literally what my note says, by the way.
Is
it's
it? Does it? I don't.
Is 100 Thieves bad, or did the coin flip just land on heads this time?
Yeah, yeah. It's insane. Like, this team is going to be the most frustrating. This team's going to be the most frustrating team to predict. You will never know when they are going to be hot or not.
Imagine trying to have them on your fantasy team.
Yeah. That's. I made that mistake too. I'm going to be difficult to deal with.
Oh my god, I was so worried about Bang. I had Bang on my utility role on fantasy.
He crushed
I was like on game 1, I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Where he was like 1 kill and nothing else. It's like, this guy's garbage. And then in this game, I was like, oh Jesus, he went from I think he went from 8 or 9 points to 49 points.
Yeah. This game was a pop-off game. 8-0-5. Cody-san, only went 2-1, which wasn't too bad. Yeah. This was a really big Jizuke game, I feel like. It was a fantastic game for him, which is what we were hoping for with our eyes on the week. Still haven't cursed anyone yet, I don't think.
GG mid-difference.
Yeah, right. Ryoma...
Ryoma played okay, I think.
I think he was okay, but he definitely looked out of his league in this game, especially.
He's a rookie.
I think. Yeah. Well, it also, to be fair, Meteos also went 0-5 on the off.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went to. It's like, this is literally a meta that does not benefit the classic Meteos style, which is much more farm support heavy, kind of cerebral style of jungling.
Yeah, that
you need you need to understand how the jungle works, sure, but it's much more about proper efficient use of time and in particular ganking.
Kind of worries me about Xmithy as well, but it's going to be hard to judge if it's the meta or if it's just his team.
He's got to play more Lee Sin and less Trundle, and he might be okay.
Until the Trundle buffs that he can.
That's true. But other thing I will say too, speaking of the mid difference, you talked that we kind of joked about. Ryoma did kind of go from going against Golden Glue in the Golden Guardians game, where he looked kind of on par with, but then he goes in this game and he didn't really seem like he was on the same level.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll just need some time to kind of get used to the system, get some nerves out. But I'm not sure. I'm not super sold on this one. The other thing I'll say is that gold graph was perfectly almost like a straight line.
Yeah, the game is
and that kind of goes
dead even until this last team fight.
Yeah, because that score line kind of makes you think, oh man, this was a stop. GG just kind of came out the gate. They pulled a Dignitas against the team they're facing this time, and just stomped. But no, it was really close. Surprisingly, 100 Thieves were actually kind of trying to fire back here and there, but then eventually just kind of all fell apart.
It all fell apart with Jizuke
I think a big part of that was Ryoma absorbing pressure mid. He was only 0-1 in lane and then splitting.
That is true.
Yep.
That is true.
He got a lot of gold on the map. That's why I think he did pretty good this week.
I think it was the Jizuke W into 4-man, just half health 4 people around the Baron pit, right here.
It's where he just he just straight up killed Cody's son.
Yeah, he killed.
He was they're all leaving the pit, going up around the top side of the pit, around it, and he just double distorted in and killed him.
Yeah.
And then the game basically just ended. Basically was over after that.
Yeah.
There's no coming back. Also, this team comp from 100 Thieves is the perfect comp for LeBlanc to shine in, because you're talking about an Olaf who's not a tank. You have no one who could really body block anyone. Even the support is not a tank.
No tank and no lockdown.
You can basically just blow up anybody as LeBlanc.
Mm-hmm.
The only lockdown you have is a rise empowered rune prison.
and
Yeah.
I guess Rakan W. But you can also just.
But
just
that
Rakan with
CC, the Rise is really the only reliable CC
Yeah.
for the
Exactly.
LeBlanc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the only aside from that, like maybe the Rakan charm from his ultimate, and then you're talking about ultimate
maybe.
In
cooldowns.
feathers, yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah,
she can dodge out
She
of
can dodge
most
out of
yeah,
that.
CCs.
exactly.
Yeah, so it's like you got free reign as
Yeah.
LeBlanc and Shizuke, who I consider a LeBlanc player. Him, LeBlanc and Echo, he made full use of that.
Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to mention too, it's something I kind of brought up earlier. Let's talk about Kumo.
You did have a good day on this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. You like we talked
Against
about like
Sunday.
this is what we consider to be like, oh, this will probably be
The
top
difference.
the top difference of the game. Sunday's going to come out and just style on this kid, and he's just going to be so much pressure in a sideline that like they're just not going to be able to answer. It was not the case. In fact, there were times where Kumo would literally just ult Someday out of a fight and then just 1v1 and nearly kill him by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Compare this to compare this to Licorice versus Impact in the exact same matchup when it was Aatrox versus Mordekaiser.
Which surprised me about Impact because I think Mordekaiser wins this matchup quite often. I think Mordekaiser are so busted.
Yeah, I think
In
if
my
you get
opinion.
two people on the same, I think on the same skill, I think if you're talking same skill level,
Mm-hmm.
I think Mordekaiser has just a lot more to offer because he wants you to get in his face and beat, so he can
Yeah,
beat the hell out of you.
that's my issue.
He can just cue you to death.
Yeah.
It's like
He doesn't even have to. He can miss the cues and he's still gonna kill you.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna just have a Q fight between Aatrox and Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser will probably win.
Yeah. My worry is that Impact's asleep again. Impact goes to sleep.
And that's
in
kind of the
regular
scary
season.
thing. It's like, okay, well, Licorice maybe better than Impact. Okay, that's cool. In a 1v1 skill matchup, that actually kind of makes sense. It's understandable. But Kumo into
Yeah,
Someday,
it should be such a.
it wasn't even close. The most Someday had was like a farm lead,
Yeah.
and that's because he was side laning.
I agree with that.
So I don't know and that's kind of that's an issue too because we thought that Someday was going to be a huge PowerPoint for 100 Thieves, and that's kind of why we had them up higher. I know y'all had them even higher than I did.
Yeah.
I had him top 4, and if he's getting kind of worked a little bit in the mid game by Kumo, who's only on his 6th game
Mm-hmm.
in the LCS stage. That's I don't know. That's kind of that's some I said yellow flags coming up now. Not red, but they're yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Got some caution here.
Yeah, for sure. Final game here. We got Team Liquid versus TSM. And this game, again, TSM started out with that great gold lead. 15 minutes, they're at 1.2k, not as big as a 3k gold lead, but they had 2 dragons. They got 2 very early kills on double lift. We want to talk about those 2 kills on double lift here. Like, get him with Dardoch. He teleports back in. He gets him again. He comes back in, and like 2 minutes later, he has a CS advantage over Kabe. What? Like, what are you doing?
Support difference, man. It's just too strong.
But yeah, Cordigy was disgusting on Rakan in this game, but he's got a world skin on him. You know?
I saw someone actually made a comment. It was just some random. I think it was just some random redditor, but it actually made a really good point. Was that that Cordigy just kind of just sat on the side, and just had like, I'm the threat of the Rakan.
Yeah,
I'm the threat of a Rakan against this misfortune. Like, if you ever step out of line, we will probably kill you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's actually insane. The fact that Kabe, I think he had like maybe at most like maybe a single digit CS lead after 2 early kills, and then by the time after maybe like less than a minute, Double Lift just had a CS lead again.
Yeah,
which is nuts. So and then the gold lead was never even especially compared to the Immortals game and how that went for the early game for TSM.
It wasn't as close. They did have 3 dragons right away by the 16 minute. They already were on the 3rd dragon, which was quite crazy. But then they lost everyone after that. And they just constantly kept losing team fight after team fight because they were too scared to go in. Every single time they were too scared to go in. And it was really... I was fine with it personally because it was against Team Liquid. But like, from stepping back from a fan base and like just watching it, like analyzing it, it's terrible again. It's just the same thing over and over.
There's no excuse for this comp either. There's no draft excuse. You have plenty of tools. You have like GP ult set up. You have pick potential, early game potential, speed ups and utility from the Zillion, zone control. You have a lot of long range ult, and then you can have Misfortune who's like, okay, we're just gonna layer ultimates and just beat the shit out of your team comp if you ever try to go in.
Yep, and just never worked out. I'm very curious to see how TSM is going to do in these next
And
Huge.
speaking of, I'm sitting there trying to praise Bjergsen's mechanics and being mechanically strong as a player, and then they had that moment in the around one of the fights around dragons where he does not ult as Zillion.
Yeah, that was bad too.
He got knocked up and then started walking away and then got CC'd again and died when he had ult up.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, it was quite bad.
A little bit.
All right.
Any thoughts, Brian? Any thoughts, Brian, on your favorite team?
Not really. I have to go.
You gotta
That's
go.
because I have homework I have to do and I haven't done it. So.
Gotcha. All right.
I
no
got you,
problem.
man.
All right,
I got your
well,
picks already, so we were good.
Yeah, the premature exit. Sorry.
All good.
All
I got
right.
you, dude. You have a good one, man.
See,
Yeah,
good
y'all
night.
too. Good night.
Bye.
Alrighty. So we still got a. Let's go on to our play of the week then. After that, and then our
Sounds good.
play of the week this week was the play
Speaking
that
of TSM,
everyone was super happy about. Play of the week.
yeah, it was the most hype moment of the weekend by far.
This is the last team fight of TSM Immortals. You got it. Soaz coming in, teleporting in. Altek teleporting in. Just
Yeah,
instantly
Altek,
killing.
great
Oh my
backline AD
god.
carry. Oh look, they're zoning.
Man.
They're zoning. Oh, here
God.
comes the TP in. The minions are in. The Q's in. Senna can't hold off. She has no wave clear.
And it's gone. And it's over. Thank God.
This is why Altek and Soaz, the only people with balls on Immortals in that game.
Yeah, no one else wanted to do anything. That was just
Yeah,
everyone is relieved the game is over. No one needs to talk about it anymore.
turns out in the game of people who actually want to do things and win, 2 is greater than 0.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess 2 is greater than 1. Dardak was trying.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just such a mess. I hated that. I'm so glad we'll never talk about that game again.
I'm sure people will still be talking about it.
Oops, I was supposed to be under play
Hopefully,
of the week,
hopefully it'll just peter out.
Oops, it was under match review, but it was supposed to be play of the week. Close enough. We're good enough.
Hey,
All right, let's talk briefly the LCS standings. This is the update. So far, we have Cloud9 in first place, followed by Dig and FlyQuest, all at 2-0. 4th through 7th is 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, and Immortals. See, I'm a big fan of Immortals. They're just as good as Team Liquid. And then last 3 teams are CLG, Golden Guardians, and TSM. And then,
nice.
so
I like these standings. Let's carry them. Let's just end. Can we end the seat split now?
at least Team Liquid still makes playoffs, I guess.
No, I meant end the entire split right now.
Oh, the entire split, no playoffs. Yeah, just
No, dude, playoffs were done. We won.
Nice,
It's fine.
nice.
Oh man, these power rankings.
Yeah, these are the power rankings. We got some spice apparently from. I wish Brian was here to defend it as well. Unfortunately, he had to go. But
Ah, Will, you bastard!
I know.
How dare you?
I know. So 10th place. We're all different. I have Golden Guardians still as 10th place. I think there was progress, but to me, I talked about this last year as well. Golden Guardians were so far down in 10th that they just rose up a bit, but they're still 10th. They're closer to 9th than they were before. Still 10th in my mind. And you have them 7th. I want to talk. Let's talk Golden Guardians. We'll just talk.
Okay.
Brian has them 9th as well, so he moved them up 1, I believe. No, he had them 9th last week. He had FlyQuest at last, so he's really skyrocketed FlyQuest. Oh, I forgot to put my arrows. Damn it! Oh, that's the one thing I forgot for the podcast. I was working on podcast for like 2 hours today.
The arrows.
It's so much harder with 3 people because I essentially do 3 times the work that I do on the other ones. But yeah, I forgot the arrows. I kept them the same. Brian moved them. Brian kept them the same. You moved them up. Why did you move them up?
Yep. I moved them up because they looked better.
Gotcha.
I think of all of the bottom 2 teams, as soon as if you factor out TSM, who apparently can't play past 15 minutes, and I know from a Cloud9 fan that's a little rich, but sure. But the thing is, I can accept it. The thing is, if you talk about a Golden Guardians team where they could have conceivably just straight up beat 100 Thieves, I don't put them above 100 Thieves because they lost to 100 Thieves. That'd be disingenuous. That's gonna be funny with my top 5, but we'll get to that. Now it's like,
we're
okay,
all in the same boat there.
Exactly. But now it's like, okay, well, we have this Golden Guardians team. The way they played against C9 if that was against any of these other teams beneath them, I think they just win. Because I don't think the other teams come back. If TSM gets to any sort of early deficit like they did against C9, they can't even play past 15 minutes. What happens if 15 minutes is going badly?
Mm-hmm.
And CLG were just a mess. Immortals and I was kind of torn between GG and Immortals for a little bit, but I kind of had to take points off for Immortals. And this is kind of why I was talking with you before the cast was I forgot that Immortals they were kind of playing FlyQuest a little early, and they
Mm-hmm.
actually were kind of running it a little bit, and that was with a kind of a troll draft both literally and figuratively. Um, but I feel like at the end of the day, I still think that if Golden Guardians played to that level with that sort of jungle pressure early on, like from closer, I think they just outclass Immortals right now. At least right now, from what I've seen, I think that they are a better looking team as an O2 team than a lot of the other O2 teams. Because I will grade TSM harshly because
Yeah.
they apparently can't play past 15 minutes. They look like garbage against an Immortals team. They go beneath Immortals because they lost to Immortals.
Mm-hmm.
They could not close a game where they had over like about a 3,000 gold lead before
Yeah.
15 minutes. But then I put them above CLG because CLG just looked bad and completely out of sorts. And it's probably unfair to put them here because of where they probably could be, where they probably should be, where they may be, and they probably will be because I've now put them in 10th place and I've given them power. But
Yeah.
I think, but I think, but based on what I saw in week 1, this is kind of where I have to put these teams. And I really considered putting GG actually above 100 Thieves, but I felt like that would be disingenuous.
Gotcha.
Because at the end of the day, 100 Thieves and 100 Thieves played Evil Geniuses really close, and then they just kind of just got outplayed in like the very late game right before the game ended.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was with a massive issue in the jungle where Meteos just looked completely useless in both games up until like the very last point where either they lost the game or they won the game because they killed the other jungler and he wasn't there.
Yeah. We.
But
I'll
those are kind of my thoughts on my bottom 5 right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, bottom five. I'll talk. Like my bottom five is actually the same 5 teams as you. They're just different order, almost completely.
Yeah.
There's two. I guess.
Oh,
there's
Immortals is there, and 100 Thieves are there.
Okay,
Same
so
spot.
that sounds bad. It's not bad. My bottom five from Brian is actually the exact same as well, and we don't have a single one in the same position, which I found funny. So we all agree on a bottom five. We don't agree on the position in the
Yes.
bottom five. We agree on the bottom five.
But I think it's fair because you have like a lot of you have the one and you have all 3 of the 0-2 teams and then the 1-1 teams that didn't look as good as the others.
Yes, which makes it. There's a reason they're all down there. Like I said, I think that Golden Guardians has technically risen a bit. Their stock to me has actually gone like, oh, it's not too bad, but there's still a lot of work there. There's still a lot I need to see to move on. CLG looked absolutely terrible. I thought, like especially that Wiggly play is just stuck in my mind as how CLG looked all like game. That second game is really burnt in. And to be fair to myself, I had CLG 7th to start the split, so dropping them to 9th after an 0-2 start is not that big of a drop. Personally, like you guys dropped them a lot more considering of where you
Just look at how we dropped TSM.
Yeah, you guys dropped TSM pretty hard as well.
TSM was second in my rankings.
Yeah,
I dropped them to 9th. I dropped them 7 places.
I believe
there's only one other team in my ranking that has even close to that level of a rise.
Yep,
and we'll get to them in the top 5.
Yeah, I think Immortals. I rose them up 1 win or 1 spot mostly only because CLG looks so poorly. Like I think Immortals still looks like a bottom tier team for sure. Like I said during the match review, Immortals did not win that game. No one wins except for Altec in that game. They looked very sloppy, very very scared to do anything, and very slow pace, which I do not like to see on teams at all, as you know. And I think they also did that same thing as FlyQuest. They just got destroyed to Viper Vipers Riven at the end of the day, and then like their whole draft kind of fell apart. But their win against TSM, which is usually like a low tier team, being a high tier team like that, usually adds a lot of like bonus points to you. This one did not add many bonus points at all to me for them. So they moved up, but mostly only moved up because CLG looked so bad for me. I also had TSM 7th because I think that they dropped a lot. Like myself, I had them as 3rd, I believe. So I did drop them to an out of playoff team. I think they're looking really shaky with all of a sudden all those question marks. Like they're the opposite of Dignitas to me. Dignitas, all the question marks worked out great. They found everything worked out perfectly. Only week one, to be fair. But and then TSM, all the question marks worked out badly. Like will Dardoch and Bjergsen be able to play together? Going to week 1, no. They did not look synergized at all. Will Kabe, which I was worried about Kabe, you can go back and watch our off-season podcast, like the free agency podcast. I wasn't as sold on Kabe as everyone else when they signed. I wanted to see Upset on TSM because I thought Upset would bring a new style, new flair to the team. Kabe was coming from Splice, which was the very same style TSM lost with constantly. So that kind of worried me that they were going to play that same way. And so far that worry has proven correct. And Upset has proven to be amazing so far in Origin. And and then 100 Thieves, like they lost to Evil Geniuses. I don't know if that's bad. Evil Geniuses look terrible in the first game. Are they truly this coin flip? It could be, and that maybe they're just really, really tough. They can beat any team when they're on fire, and they can lose to any team when they're not. So that sucked, but their loss or their barely win against Golden Guardians also dropped them a lot, which is why I dropped them all the way to 6 from 2nd. Whew. Anything else you want to talk about the bottom 5 before we move on?
I think the only other thing I would have mentioned was to be like if TSM somehow did manage to win even that 60-minute game, I still would have dropped them. I would have dropped them this low, but the only thing I probably would have done was maybe put them above. I would just probably maybe just put them above Immortals.
Oh yeah,
that would be the only thing.
If TSM would have won, it would have been the same situation.
And I know I may or may not get flamed, but I don't care because this is literally I'm going by what I saw from these teams. And this is what I saw from these teams because I think CLG looked the worst in week 1. I think TSM looked the worst in week 1 after 15 minutes. I think Immortals didn't look great, but they looked better than TSM after 15 minutes in the game that they played. And so on and so on. I think Golden Guardians looked good. They just had issues and they just couldn't close out. And I think it's like against 100 Thieves, and then I think they had decent early moves against Cloud9, but Cloud9 were also smart enough to position themselves to both both stem a lot of the aggression as well as counter a lot of their moves, and then just sort of outsmarted and outfought them later. So I felt like it was just like Golden Guardians played well against a team that I think is just way better than them right now. And I think week 2 can easily shift a bunch of these teams up. Like 100 Thieves might drop to 10th if they continue to look as bad as they did in a lot of ways in week 1, especially from the jungle position, because I expect a lot more out of Meteos. But they have some hard games coming up. I know they play Cloud9, so that's not. So they have a lot of They have more questions than I thought, even at the beginning of this year between Ryoma and Stun. And you had teams like Dignitas who had questions. They're answering them now. And TSM, I thought, had even less questions. They had maybe Dardoch. I thought that Kabe was pretty much like almost like a 1-for-1 for Sven, maybe a slight upgrade. I think Bio's good. Going back to a new system, I think it's fine. Dardoch was like the one real question mark. But now it turns out TSM has a lot more question marks than I even thought that they had.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So I guess we kind of transition more into the next ones.
Yeah.
The top 5.
Yeah, the top 5. I wanted to say, when you sent your picks into me first, and you put Dignitas 2, and I'm like, oh wow, that is a big jump that you got there. And Brian.
Me and Brian are the same.
Brian sent me his picks, and he also had Dignitas top 2. I'm like, Jesus, you guys both have Dignitas top 2, huh? And then I watched the dive, or at least some of the dives, if I haven't finished it yet. And Jet's overreaction of week 1 that he wanted to mention was that he thinks Dignitas is the top 2 team in the league or in the LCS right now. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Oh, don't worry. I'll talk about it.
yeah, yeah,
You know, I have words. I'm prepared.
we all have Evil Geniuses number 5. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
We all have Evil Geniuses 5. I think I didn't move them. Did you move them up like one?
I think
maybe?
they were 6 on mine,
Yeah,
so
so
they
I
only
mean,
went up by 1.
I mean, yeah, they did exactly what they thought we predicted them to go.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah, we predicted them to go 1-1. We just predicted it the wrong way, and that's how coin flips work, you know. That's kind of how they work. So I think we kind of got them spot on. We'll even go up to the top. We all have Team Liquid number 1 still, even though they fell to Cloud9. I think we all think very fairly like that. It was like a fluke, or not a fluke. That's the wrong word.
Unfortunate circumstance.
Unfortunate circumstance, yeah. And we didn't want to punish them too hard, especially with a win against TSM. If they would have lost to TSM, I probably would have dropped them. But
because I would say right now, I'm not gonna lie. If I wanted, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, oh, if I'm being disingenuous, like, why would I put Golden Guardians above 100 Thieves? Even though I think that Golden Guardians had some better looks than 100 Thieves did at times. Like, why would I do that when 100 Thieves beat them? Like, that would be disingenuous. It's kind of the same thing where I say, well, hold on, we'll get to that. Because then I have Team Liquid above Cloud9 when Cloud9 beat them, and I'm the Cloud9 homer. Well, that's a combination of I didn't want to be too biased. I didn't want to come off that way. But I also do think that if I was being real, I would put Team Liquid third. But only this iteration of Liquid. With the way they looked this week, I put them third below Dig and Cloud9.
okay.
But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I think they're the only team, the only one in this league that has earned it.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about because they're talking about Schernfire, and I still stand by that Schernfire was not the only problem with Team Liquid. He may have been, quote, the worst player on Liquid, but he was by far not the reason that they lost against Cloud9, and he was not as big of a factor, but he played his role in the TSM game, and I think that even like maybe the standings, like maybe the results change, and like maybe the results change if Broxa is just slotted into the team, but I think even if you put Broxa into the lineup in the Cloud9 game with how Cloud9 looked, if Brox is coming in with literally 4 days of practice, the same as Schernfire.
I agree. I don't think anything.
I think Cloud9 still beats him. Maybe I'm wrong. I think the chances. I mean, obviously it's 100% chance because we have hindsight, but I think like instead of it being like let's say maybe a lot of people still pick Team Liquid to win even with Schernfire in the game because they thought the 4 fits, but the 4 fits of Liquid were just beaten straight up by Cloud9. Even Sven Vulcan, a new bot lane, actually came out looking good in the lane phase, and that was with Vulcan making a bunch of roams mid. So Sven was holding lane against Senna Thresh as an Aphelios,
which is very impressive.
But yeah, I would say, I mean, because it's the only thing we all have in common. That's kind of my thoughts on Liquid. Yeah. I think EG were like as hard to place on this list as 100 Thieves were. Yep. Because 100 Thieves looked really bad, and they looked almost on the verge of being outclassed in a lot of ways against Golden Guardians. But then they still kept it relatively close. The Goldie was never really out of hand, and it came down to just basically exactly what they needed to win. They all gained up and killed closer. Meteos flashed in. He ended up with like 6 health and smote the Elder Dragon or something. It was insane. But that's exactly what they needed to win. And then it was the exact opposite in the EG game where they kept it close, but then EG just came in, popped Cody Sun, and then it was over.
Yep, that's how 100 Thieves. They will lose a lot of matches if Cody Sun dies.
And then the flip side for Evil Geniuses, where we had 100 Thieves not looking good against Golden Guardians, but still kind of eking out a win, and then going against EG and kind of keeping it close, but then just losing once it came down to it. Evil Geniuses, they came out, they took care of business against 100 Thieves, they won. I give them the nod here. But then you put them up against Dignitas, and they get giga stomped. They get completely destroyed. They are completely out of sorts. And from early on, it was fine. Like we said in the thing, it was like I said in match review, they got first blood. They got Froggen. They were going mid, but as soon as they went for the second go around in mid lane, that Dignitas never looked back.
Mhm.
They moved better around the map. They had better fighting as a team. Like they just looked stronger,
Yeah.
straight up.
And
But then how
do
much
you
is
want
it?
to go
But then
into Dignitas a bit with that as well? Because you have
yeah,
Dignitas number 2.
exactly. So it kind of goes down to okay, well, how does this okay? Do we hold this against evil geniuses because evil geniuses are they just bad? And then they're just happen to be a little bit better than 100 Thieves, or is Dignitas just really that good? And I think that judging by the eye test with how much they took care of business against teams that we thought were going to be better than them, I thought they were going to be better than them. Aside from TSM, this is the biggest movement on my rankings. I rated them up by 6 because I had
Mhm.
them in 8th
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure about what they might be doing. Again, the question marks, but they were answered because you had a CLG team, and albeit issues with CLG, fine. But Dignitas came in and they took care of it. They kind of had a little bit of a rocky start early on. Uh, Wiggly did get first blood in that game. It was actually the earliest first blood of the week, I believe. But they still managed to just make their map movements. They played well as a team. They outfought CLG and they just won. It ended up being going by scoreline. It wasn't even that close. It felt kind of close, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then how much is that is on CLG? Well, then they go against Evil Geniuses who look
And
who
they
have a
and they
who
did
have
the
a, who
same
have a good
thing.
roster, and they smash them.
Yeah, they smashed Evil Geniuses.
And
And
it was mhm.
I
and
was
it
gonna
wasn't
say
yeah.
I have him 4th. Like I moved him up a lot too because I believe I had him 8th as well to start the year. Because again, like you said, lots of question marks. Thought there a lot of washed up players. Like, will they find out the fountain of youth that we talked about? Like, will they become back to their prime? And it looked pretty good so far. And I think that I think my only worry than putting them second is that it was against Evil Geniuses, which we know can have very bad. Like Spence Garen had a terrible game, and then and then they face CLG, and CLG looks quite bad as well, from right now at least. And then I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I put FlyQuest ahead of them, even though FlyQuest went against Immortals in CLG, like which is not much better at all in any means. But I think it was more so on the fact that I really liked what I saw from Wild Turtle and Ignar, and I think they hit everything I wanted them to with being aggressive. Santorin actually looks aggressive again, which is everything went exactly. My highest hopes for FlyQuest were answered in the 2 games. Like you had Viper playing aggressive, you had Wild Turtle and Ignar playing super aggressive, like they're always going to. But you had Santorin playing aggressive well, and you had Power of Evil wrapping it all together, like with the slow control mage in the middle. And I
Yep.
think that's why I'm really sold on FlyQuest.
Yep. And I feel you too. I honestly that was kind of like a debate for me too. Was kind of like between because I wasn't going to move TL at a first because I didn't want to be that guy. As much as I may have wanted to, and as much as they may have deserved it after this week, that wouldn't be fair. And it really did come down to where I wanted to put the 3 teams, the 3 undefeated teams. And I think I love FlyQuest. I love their play this week, especially that second game from Ignar. But I think his presence alone has just it woke something up in this team. I don't know if maybe it's him and Power of Evil, that Misfits energy, but I think they look a lot better and they actually look in sync. They don't look like a dead fish, like swapping between supports. They actually look like they're capturing some of that spring 2018 magic, and they actually look really good. I do again caveat because they of the teams they beat were Immortals and CLG, and that in the end of the day, I think they looked really good. But at the end of the day, I think they had that hiccup, goofy GG Go Next remake play from CLG that they kind of just couldn't get away from.
Yeah,
And
they
but
kind of
and then you had
snowballed off of that.
The Immortals game where even with a troll draft with the Trundle jungle, Immortal still managed to keep it close early, and it came down to Viper being Viper on Riven in
Hmm.
order for them to pull it back. So I do like a lot from this team, and I'm loving the fact that I not just love their message, I love their branding, and I think their players are really cool. They're really likable guys. I like the way they're stylists. I think they're a nice little. I think they're gonna be a great dark horse for playoffs if they keep this up. But right now, I do have to put them below Dig and C9 just for that. And then the main one was who do I put second between C9 and Dig? And I wanted so hard. I literally had C9 in before I sent it, and I said no, I'm gonna put Dig in. I'm gonna give Dig the nod because I think just going by week one performance alone, Dig and C9 looked like the two best teams.
I agree. I agree with that for sure.
It's simple as that.
I think that.
I think
Well,
they looked.
I would also include FlyQuest in there with myself,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, I agree too.
which makes sense. They all went 2-0.
Yeah, it's like they all look really good. I think Dignitas is like, okay, well, I think they just beat slightly more higher quality opponents than FlyQuest did. I mean, they beat CLG and they beat them bad, and then they beat Evil Geniuses and they beat them even badder than that.
Hmm.
And this is an Evil Genius team that we all have fifth.
Yeah.
Like even if you're calling it a coin flip, at the end of the day, you still have another team on the other side that has to punish you for playing badly. And it didn't even start off all that badly for Evil Geniuses, but still didn't let him win. Didn't give him an inch, didn't give him anything. And the only other team that was close to that was Cloud9,
Yeah,
where
Cloud9
they
destroyed Liquid.
lost first blood. They lost first blood in both games. And they win.
But then
And
they stepped it up
and it
and
didn't matter.
destroyed.
I
Mhm.
made the joke saying like, oh well, for every death Licorice got, two more enemy team members died.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was literally the case in the second game because he had 3 deaths total, but he had 4 kills and 2 assists. So he's literally six
Six and
total of
three.
kills assists to 3 deaths. So it's
Yep.
2-1. But and then in the first game where it's like, oh well, he pays check, he dies. Oh man, let all freaking players have to pay respects for Licorice in the chat. He kind of goofed it there. Then he goes solo kills Impact, goes mid, freaking catches Jensen, and they kill him.
Yep.
Kills both XC9 members. They're feeding. Sleeper cells have awoken. Um, and I think C9 just played a really smart game. I think they came out of this boot camp and they know exactly how to play out these games, how to make moves, when to make them. I think they look really good and on board. I think, like I said, going with the Dignitas thing, the only other team aside from C9 that looks like they kind of know what they're doing is Dignitas.
Mm.
It's like these are two teams that had a lot of questions going into the offseason, and they're kind of answering them. And it's one of those things where if they keep this up, this is actually going to be a really hype matchup. Because then head to head, these teams actually are kind of similar. You have Huni versus Licorice, Froggen versus Niski. You have the Johnson Aframu bot lane, which is brand new, and then you have Sven Vulcan bot lane, which is brand new. The only thing that's kind of new that we've seen before is Grig and Blabber.
I'd be very interested to see that matchup is like
Yeah.
between two. But like
And I will say just kind of the one last note, what it ended up giving me the nod between these two, because I think these two were kind of neck and neck in terms of eye test. From what I saw, I think Cloud9 played a much smarter style, but I think they also had some points where they kind of had some goof ups that maybe some better teams could have punished, but Cloud9 were just better, and that's kind of what it came down to.
mm-hmm.
And I think Dignitas similarly, CLG was their closest game was against Dignitas, but Dignitas did just kind of outstyle on them, and then they came out and they just beat EG, who I have ranked higher than Golden Guardians, who I do think is better than Golden Guardians. So just based on the quality of who they played, and again the Team Liquid one, I didn't want to be the guy to overvalue them beating 4/5 of the Team Liquid roster that won both splits last year and was number one undisputed. Um, so I didn't really count that for too much. Otherwise, I would have made them their uncontested second place without question.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Like I
I'll
still
say
put him second.
yeah, I'll say in terms of rosters who were actually complete with their intended rosters, Dignitas did in fact beat teams who were actually beat two teams that had their intended roster and
Yeah.
beat them
Okay.
very soundly.
I get that point. But all right, let's move on to
Yeah.
our big player of the week, which was Froggen, very similar to the LCS player of the week. I think the big award is more like great, greater honor. Though they get statues, which might be pretty cool. We should make statues of big instead. But I thought we'll talk. His KDA is 10.5. His kill participation was 77.5, which is really really good. Damage percentage is 37%, really good. And that says vision score per minute. That's supposed to be damage per minute. I just realized that it's the same thing.
Jesus Christ, his vision score is so high.
His vision score is amazing.
He can see everything. No wonder this guy's got map hack.
I totally forgot that's a little bit of an issue with Streamlabs when you copy paste stuff. It sometimes doesn't work. Like if you change it on one scene, it changes on the scene above you as well, which kind of sucks. But yeah, it was 669.9 damage per minute, which was very good. What I wanted to mention, which was all good, you know Froggen had a great week if you watched. What I wanted to notice that you actually touched on a little bit back in the match history, Power of Evil was near the exact same on every single one of those stats. I'm just gonna say very quickly because again we're already at time. We haven't even done predictions yet.
We're just paying tribute to TSM.
Yeah. Oh God, we're never doing that. Let me see. Okay, Power of Evil stats. So like the stats on your screen are Froggen's. Power of Evil actually had a 9.7 KDA, a kill participation, if it will load, a kill participation of 72.8%, a damage percentage of 36.8%, and a vision score per minute, no, a damage per minute of 690. So he actually had more damage per minute, but like the other stats were really, really close. So like
and they played similar champions too.
Yes. So like Froggen did amazing, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Power of Evil for also stepping up this week for sure.
Yep, the meta's working for him. I also just want to give a quick nod, just personally. Niski, he put on a nice little performance this weekend. It was awesome to see.
Yep.
And Ignar too, the other misfit on FlyQuest.
Yep.
I think he was styling on kids, and I think he also he's bringing in a nice intangible to that roster. That's really kind of invigorating them compared to what they were, especially in summer.
For sure.
But Froggen definitely well deserved. This guy, people are already joking. Oh man, Froggen, he finally has a team.
Yeah, he finally has
does.
a team.
Apparently he does,
Hopefully.
but it's not just the team. He's also performing, and he definitely does.
Yes. I'm really sorry to do this to you. The Boomer Award this week was Keith, the Golden Glue support. Mostly because this is the part that really irked me. He had a KDA of 1.
I know, but then it's so
that's fine.
even.
That's fine.
It's an actual whole number.
40.5 kill participation, which isn't great for support. Damage percentage, I'm gonna be fully transparent here. Was too lazy to change that aspect of the thing, so I just was like, I'll keep it in there anyway. But that doesn't matter at all.
We gotta flame him. He played Braum, and Tom Kenshin only had a 5.5% damage percentage.
My issue here was vision score per minute was 2.11. Now you might be like, oh, wait, that doesn't sound bad. There is the first for vision score per minute. 9 people that the top 9 are 9 supports. Then there is an ADC here by the name of Johnson. And then there's the 10th support. He had less vision score per minute than an ADC. And that bugged me. Way too much. So, for example, his vision score per minute was 2.11. Ignar was number 1 at 3.08. Stunt 3.01. Hakuo 3.0. You get my point. They're all at 3.0 or high. Like, a whole vision score, 1 vision score per minute extra.
Well, to be fair, Johnson played... He played Ashe, didn't he?
Johnson?
Yeah, I think he played Ashe and Senna.
I want to say you're right. Yes.
Well, dude, that's the why he's playing He's playing a freaking ADC that has vision on her kid.
But he doesn't have a support item on him though. He doesn't get 4 wards every back. Oh man!
Hey man, it's week 1. He used to be an ADC.
Yeah, he's not used to warding yet.
He's not used to. Yeah, he's not used to warding. Obviously.
It's literally like almost all support, then almost all straight jungle, and then like the rest of the field. Like, but the fact that he was below an ADC just irritated me. That was the main decider on the final part of putting him as the boomer award.
Yeah, I'll say okay, boomer to just my little heads up. I actually did have like okay boomer and a big award on my list, but I said, I'm not sure about this. I'll let him go with it. I'll just do my commentary. But my okay boomer at the time was I just literally just put the TSM play style.
That's very good one. That's a very good one. That's actually kind of funny for related to my players to watch out for.
Yeah.
But let's move on to predictions because we're at an hour 34. We'll do our predictions relatively quickly.
Your heart out, TSM.
All right, so let me pull up the games here because unfortunately, since we have 3 people, I don't have room on the thing to put the games right on this thing. So I'll just tell you them out loud, and then I'll tell you what our predictions are. Game number 1 is CLG versus 100 Thieves. We'll start with Brian's prediction, and then we will go off of that. That is not
Sounds
Brian's
good.
prediction. Let's not do that because I can't find... Oh, there it is.
Brian's prediction for every game.
Yeah.
CLG.
Yeah, he actually indeed did pick CLG to beat 100 Thieves. I'm very disappointed that he had to go to bed because I really want to talk about why. I really
That's
want.
all right. I'll do the argument for him. It's because we all put them at the bottom of our standings, and now they're going to come back this week and smurf on everybody.
Yes,
Because that's how it works. It's because we literally all believed in them in week 1.
No, I did
Hey.
not. I did not believe.
You liar! Where did you put them in your power rankings?
7th.
Oh, that's right. You suck. But that's why they look good in the. That's why they look good in the dig game.
Because they're in
They
7th.
look good in the dig game, and then everything else kind of fell out of whack.
Yeah.
It's also because I started a bunch of their players on fantasy. That's clearly why.
That's your fault.
I had way too much faith.
Way too much. All right. I spoiled mine a little bit. I do have 100 Thieves winning this game. I'm still... I just think CLG looks so sloppy, especially like Ruin looked bad. Like, the only one, honestly, kind of funny enough, the only one that I really didn't mind was Crown, the one that had like almost 0 practice.
I think you're literally talking about pure mechanics.
Yeah.
At that point. But the issue then becomes synergy with the rest of your team, communication, and then obviously, like I said, especially mid jungle synergy and support mid synergy as well.
Yeah, Wiggly scares
Literally
me.
have no conversation. You're basically going into a solo queue match.
Yeah, Wiggly scares me. Like, I'm hoping he doesn't regress. Because remember, Wiggly was very bad his first split, but then, like, after that, he was really, really good last split. So I'm hoping he doesn't regress too much. Crown I thought was fine. Stixay looked pretty bad, honestly, in Smoothie. That Stixay and Smoothie did not look clean at all on the bot lane either.
It's one of those things where you would think that those two would actually complement each other pretty well. Like, you would have, like, that late game insurance, but then also have stronger laning power. Like, you think it would make sure be okay.
But it didn't.
Hasn't worked out yet, but who knows? Well, maybe again that's that synergy with the rest of the team.
Did you want to say what your pick is before
I also have 100 Thieves in this one, and my main reason for this, and I fully expect that CLG can have the ability to win this game, especially if they bounce back and they just look better. And they have that practice, and it helps.
Whoa, wait. Sorry to interrupt. Idol, you're picking CLG as well? Why is that? Let me know, because I'm curious on that.
Because I might touch on it a little bit. Because I think it might come down to mid difference. Because I think Crown might honestly style Unreal.
I completely forgot about that. That's poor on me.
And I considered that, and that's why this one was actually one of the harder ones for me to choose. But I think eventually what it came down to was the fact that I don't think that Wiggly right now, with only a week of practice, is going to be the type of jungler who's going to punish Meteos as badly as he was this past week.
I agree. That I looked at jungle there. I thought that was bad. I thought I thought Sunday was going to bounce back. I thought Ruin is going to go way too aggressive into him, and I picked it because of that as well. And I honestly just thought Cody's son just going to outperform Stixay in the bot lane pretty well.
Like I said, I don't think the bot lanes are going to be a problem. The only like I said, I feel like it's going to be jungle difference. is not going to be nearly as bad. And I think that was kind of the main issue between both games for 100 Thieves this past week was Meteos was borderline useless in the jungle, versus, especially compared to Svenskeren in the second game. And then you had like he was basically a melee ward as Olaf in the late game. Um, and then you had Closer, who was basically asserting his will over Meteos the entire Golden Guardians game. That was where they got a lot of their advantages. But I don't think Wiggly's going to have that power, especially if him and Smoothie still aren't on the same track. And those two were probably practicing. Even if Crown wasn't there, you have to imagine they were still practicing. So if the jungle support synergy just isn't there, then it might be an issue. But I still think that Ryoma is good enough to hold against Crown. And I don't think Crown is the type of he's a very good player, but I don't think he's the type of player who's like, I'm gonna break out Diana and I'm just gonna take a dump on this kid in lane.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think even then, Ryoma did okay. Like he kind of he died like level 1 because 3 people were there and Meteos was farming Raptors.
Yeah, but we're still on 100.
Yeah, I'm not changing my pick or nothing like that. I'm just kind of putting my arguments out there, playing devil's advocate for both sides.
Yes. Game number 2 is Dignitas versus Team Liquid. Brian has Team Dig, and I believe that since you are also on the hype train of Team Dignitas, why not you go ahead and make your argument as well?
I think they look good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I have them as highly ranked as I did for a reason. I think they looked really good. I think them as a 5 unit looked better and consistently better than even the 4/5 of the TL's roster. And like I said, but the big thing I have here is that we don't know what TL we're getting.
Yes.
I still don't know if we're getting Broxa.
Yeah,
I have a note literally on the bottom of my notes. It says I have eyes on Broxa ?
Yes,
because we don't know. I don't know. Are they going to play Surenfire for week 2? Is Pobelcher going to make a surprise appearance? Is Broxa finally going to be here and be able to play? We don't know. But I think that even if Broxa is here right now and he's confirmed to start for this weekend, I don't think that 1 week of practice Broxa with Team Liquid that has kind of looked shaky here and there. Is like even like Double Lift and Core JJ, they were able to kind of just like outlane Kabe and them. Jensen had a really bad game against Niski, but then had a really good game against Bjergsen. Impact, same sort of deal. So how much of that was just the players they were going against, that sort of thing, or how much of it was TL just not playing really well on the day for whatever reason?
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the way Dignitas is played right now, with how they've looked as a unit and as individual players, I think they handle anything.
Yeah.
I think Huni can handle Impact. I think Froggen, especially with the way he's been looking, unless Jensen really smurfs, like he can handle Jensen. I think Grig has been actually an unsung hero for this team. He's been really solid, and he's been it feels like almost omnipresent, like exactly where he needs to be.
Which is good. Which is good for your jungler.
And he's never goofed up anything yet in this as part of this roster.
Yeah.
And then Johnson and Afro have been fine. And if anyone who's going to be able to read Double Lift's lane patterns, it's going to be Afromu.
True. But Afromu has struggled significantly against Double Lift since they've.
Oh yeah, and that's fair too. But but it also depends on who he's been laning with as well.
True.
Because Cody's son also can't lane against Double Lift.
Yeah, true. Cody's son has a really big problem against Double Lift.
And then Bang and Afro looked way worse than how Johnson and Afro look right now.
Yeah, I'll come out and I'll put my prediction up. I picked Team Liquid to win. No asterisk this time. I think with an extra week of practice, they will get more. I mean, not that they weren't like you said. They're obviously not practicing without their, like we was talking with CLG. The other players are still practicing. I think it's more of a. I think last week was a little bit of a wake up call. I'm hoping for them to. I think they were kind of in a lull state type situation, and again, it didn't help with not getting your junglers there and not having excuse me there, wow. But not having any junglers like Academy or LCS was a big problem, but now you're really going to be consistently uh, just having more practice
Scrimming
and
with
stuff
someone
like that.
who's not Pobelter.
Yeah, exactly. I think that kind of scrim time is going to get them on pace. And Idol agrees with me, which is rare. Idol very rarely agrees with me. But yeah, he's also got a team like that.
I definitely, I could definitely see where it comes because I could easily see a universe where Jensen neutralizes Froggen on the other side, Impact neutralizes Hooney, and then Doublelift just takes a dump on the rookie in the bot lane, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. And then Dignitas, they kind of maybe they throw themselves at Team Liquid, but Team Liquid plays smarter, and then they just beat, and they end up outclassing them by playing smarter because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just they played against a quality opponent, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but yeah, Cloud9, they looked quality. They looked really good against Team Liquid.
They did.
And then Team Liquid, they played against TSM, and they kind of got their ass handed to them for the first 15 minutes. But then they were also playing TSM, so they kind of had a free game after 15
After
minutes.
15 minutes, yeah, which is
So
always
how much?
fair.
So how much does that mean? Versus
Yeah.
Dig, who literally played balls to the wall pretty much from go against both teams. So I think this is definitely this is gut check time for Dig to really kind of see where they actually are, if they are legit. I
Oh
think
yeah,
if they
I'll
win
put
this,
them like
win
number
this-
one if they beat this game.
yeah, I think if they win this game, then it's justified, and that's why I have them where they are, because I genuinely think that they can win, and I think they will win.
All right, let's move on to the next game. I don't think we need to talk too much about it. It's C9 versus Immortals. Brian has C9. I'm gonna come out and say I have C9,
He didn't
and
want to believe in the Fnatic curse against C9.
Now, and you have
So
C9 as well.
So as just shows up and nerfs the entirety of C9 just because he used to be on Fnatic.
Yeah, no. You're fine. You'll be fine against this Immortal team. This Immortal team, like I said, I think they play very slow, and I think that Blabber is going to take full advantage of that, along with your guys' bot lane is going to destroy, in my opinion, Altek and Hakuo. With Sven, I think you guys are very aggressive. I think your aggressive playstyle is really going to cause fits for Immortals, because I think Immortals only won that game against TSM because it was a difference between who's going to throw. Both teams looking at who's going to throw the least, like trying to have the other team throw.
I will say this too, kind of playing again devil's advocate on my side. I think this is definitely a potential trap game for Cloud9. I think this is a game where if they're coming off of this week, they could easily say like, oh hey, Honored Thieves, let's knock these guys out, Immortals, whatever. Because in the end they still have Xmithy, and Xmithy can do well against Blabber potentially. I think he's still good. I don't think he has as good of pieces to work around with, but I think
definitely not there.
but I think Soaz is actually a pretty decent weak side top, and he can actually hold his own.
That is true.
Yeah, and I think the bot lane, I think laning wise, Alltech and Hakuo aren't the best, but I think
they're not the worst, but they're not the best.
Yeah, but I think like if you give Hakuo Thresh, it's gonna be a problem. Even in like because it was like that even for the FlyQuest game, like he was still styling on kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally took heroics from Viper to pull it back. And I think Alltech in like the mid game, like he's even shown a bit of range. Like he played Cassio. That's kind of something we never even talked about.
Oh
he
yeah,
Cassio.
Yeah,
It was Cassio Thresh. It was a Cassio Thresh bot lane from Immortals in the FlyQuest game.
Yeah, we'll have to see if mages in the bot lane work as much, because like they did not work at all at Worlds.
Yeah,
and
then you had he was on Ezreal, and he was basically he was actually playing balls out against TSM.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's definitely possible if C9 like I said, like Golden Guardians came out and punched him in the mouth early on, but C9 just kind of said okay, stop.
I don't see that
and smacked him down. But
yeah, and
but
I also
like,
don't see that from happening from Immortals. I don't see Immortals going in and punching anyone in the mouth at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Personally.
We'll see. I'd like to. I definitely still have C9. I'm not picking against C9 in this game without no way. But I definitely see a world where it's possible that if C9 underestimates them, just like if they underestimate anyone and play like let's just play like they're better in a way that they just are lackadaisical and don't take care of business, they can get upset.
Okay, yeah, I'll concede that point.
It's like a 90. It's like a 90-10.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
I'll concede that. Next, we'll move on to Evil Geniuses and Golden Guardians, and I think we'll also. I'm going Evil Geniuses this game. I know it's a coin flip, so I know I'm probably wrong here, but I'm hoping that Svenskeren. I feel like Closer got to go
Oh my God.
against, like, I think that Svenskaren's going to cause him some fits in the jungle more so, and I'm really thinking that the bot lane issue is going to be. I know Bang didn't play great. He played okay. He never died, but he didn't play. He played really good game too, I should say. But I think that's going to cause a lot of fits on the bot lane for against the Golden Guardians with FBI and Keith. I think they're just simply outclassed there, and I think that's going to cause some fits.
Yeah,
Brian also has EG.
Yeah, I'm similar. I think all of EG's pieces individually are better than GG's right now, and I think even as a team, if EG kind of goof around too much and don't play as well as they can, I don't think that GG has shown that they aren't super best at closing, even if they get leads early.
Yes, so you could
maybe
see them.
EG just literally, maybe if EG literally just run it down, then sure. But I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
No, all right. Good quick pace. Next one. This one says a different. This is a different schedule than what I was going off of, so I'm gonna go off of what we had for the next one.
What do they have?
They had Team Liquid as 3 p.m. Let me see if it's.
Really?
Let me see. We've had issues like this in the past. Like, you know, if
Yeah,
you watch.
I mean, like the notes that I put in, I had the game one is
yours is correct. I always LOL esports is always correct. Google's always messed up sometimes. We've learned that over the years. And
so we got
EG versus TSM. I had Idol had Cloud9 over what's it, Immortals and EG as well. So okay, me and I. Oh no, he has CLJ. I was gonna say. Okay, so we have one difference. Me and Cloud9, or me and Cloud9. Me and Idol.
Yeah, it's like me and Idol have only half.
Idol, you're not gonna be on the screen because there's no more room. But we're gonna keep track of you personally on the spreadsheet. Okay. What was your record, by the way? Let me know your record for last week, so I can keep track of it. All right.
He's 10-0.
He's 10-0, clearly. I have Evil Geniuses over TSM. I think this is perfect for them with their hyper coin flippy aggressiveness. I think that TSM having the issue of being able to close games and stuff, and Evil Geniuses kind of playing into super aggressive, you can make mistakes, sure. I think that actually plays into defeating TSM, while they're not going to punch you back. They're just gonna like kind of hope and wait and see how it goes, and I think that'll give Evil Geniuses a good enough time to scale up and win a game.
I'm similar in mine. I actually have Evil Geniuses as well, partially because I feel like one of these has got to be a win for Evil Geniuses. Even if both aren't,
you might as well double down.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where I feel this is kind of what I hinted at earlier, where I think that this is possible. That this is a game where you don't see TSM get up 3K gold over their enemy.
Yes,
I think aside from maybe top lane, Evil Geniuses pretty much are on par and similar in similar in skill level to their counterpart on TSM. And I think that they have Svenskeren and it's going against Dardoch. So unless Dardoch has literally just like somehow managed to style on the MVP jungler from last summer, which I don't see happening, it's possible that they just don't. I mean, compare it to like Xmithy versus like none of the pieces that he had on Immortals and Schurnfire. Those are the junglers that Dardoch had to go against in week 1. Now he has to go against. Now his first game is against Svenskeren.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
the TSM prediction as well. By the way, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Oh, I mean it's possible, but because here's the other thing: devil's advocate on this one. TSM, the reason they win, they get off to a good start early in 15 minutes, and then Evil Geniuses pull a Dignitas game where they just continuously run at TSM and feed them more kills and gold.
I didn't want to mention it, but when I was making the argument for Evil Geniuses to win, I was like, oh wait, shit, I'm making an argument for TSM to win.
Yeah, there is true. The other option is basically Evil Geniuses literally will throw themselves at TSM and then force TSM to make decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where
and-
they'd rather just play the map out. EG's like, no, you won't.
Yeah, you will absolutely not. But yeah.
So,
So
I think the aggression and from Evil Geniuses plays out over TSM,
all right.
especially because TSM literally doesn't exist after. I think as long as they get past 15 minutes, I think Evil Geniuses is okay.
All right. Game number 2 between FlyQuest and Team Liquid. Brian has Team Liquid.
Oh man, here it comes.
I also, maybe I'm biased, but I also have Team Liquid here.
Oh man.
I just think that Team Liquid's going to get back on track here. And it's a very tough test. It's a very tough test for Dignitas and FlyQuest, but I'm very happy that they're both facing Team Liquid. Hell, it's a tough test for Team Liquid as well, honestly.
I know, it's literally the other 2-0 teams.
Yeah, like Team Liquid, Team Liquid will face 3 of the 2-0 teams out of their first 4 games. So it's the worst.
Cloud9 were 0-0 when they
Okay,
played.
true, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean now. But yeah, so like that issue is that sucks for not having Broxah. It's like, okay, maybe if we got like Golden Guardians, Immortals to start. No, you're facing all the best teams right now. Yep. Oh, which is unfortunate timing, but I think they'll get it together here. I think
they're not coming in. It's like, oh, week 2 we finally have Broxah and we play Immortals and Golden Guardians. Yeah, and we're good.
So.
But those would actually be interesting though, because then you get Xmethy versus Team Liquid, and then you get Closer versus Broxah.
Yeah, that would actually be very interesting. Idol has Fly. What do you have, Ryan?
Me and Idol got one together this time. It's FlyQuest for me. Nice. I believe in the power of nature. I support the growth of our planet's resources.
Dude, I don't. You can't root against them. You can't root against them. I know. It's so difficult.
But it's honestly though, like I said, it's kind of piggybacking off of what I said about the Dignitas game. I feel like TL is still like they're like the Mack truck. They got the diesel. They haven't even fueled up yet. They're not entirely. They're kind of like pushing. They're trying to getting out of the station on fumes. They're fueling up this week, and maybe they come out, but they're going to be a slow start. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have Dignitas and FlyQuest, who are already ahead, just get that much more ahead.
All right.
I think Viper and Impact is going to be a fun lane. I think Santorin is beasting right now, which is crazy to think after Summer Split.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whoever they have in jungler, if they have Sternfire in the jungler, I think Santorin is going to school him. I think if they have Brox in the jungle, it might be a little bit more different. But I think the fact that you have Santorin, Power of Evil, and Ignar already with such good synergy, I think that they can actually just run away with this game. And as we saw from like the Cloud9 game, consistent aggression and playmaking is what beats TL. Like, if you have a good game plan going into this and you execute on it and you're not afraid to, and you keep doing it and you don't let up, that's how you beat them.
Yes.
TSM didn't do that.
Which is exactly
FlyQuest and Dignitas are the teams that can. And that's why I think that they will do it.
That's why I'm kind of optimistic with Broxah. I think Broxah might negate that bad early game by Team Liquid. They have a poor early game, and then if you keep up that aggression, you can beat them. But like outside of that, you really can't beat them. But so I'm hoping Broxah's good early game will actually negate that if he's there.
But Idol did mention chat. You can't go against.
You can't go against nature. All right, next game: 100 Thieves versus. Damn, we're almost at 2 hours. We got 4 games, and then we'll end the stream. I promise. It's supposed to only be an hour 30 minutes, Ryan. At max.
That's what you get for bringing me on here to talk about things.
This is Ryan's last podcast ever.
I told you I'm sending in my 1-sentence match reviews after this when I'm not here next week.
They're good. I actually enjoy all your notes. Like I said,
100 Thieves versus Cloud9.
Yeah, Idol said Fly's my LPL team playing tonight, dude. Man, I had Fly in 6 where most people had him 9th, 10th. Man, I was on hype train. I have him 3rd now. I'm still on that hype train. I just can't pick him against Team Liquid. I got Cloud9 being 100 Thieves. I think Cloud9, like you said, if I was looking at teams and what the best teams were, to me Cloud9 was the best team purely after week 1. That again, we gave Team Liquid benefit of doubt. They won 4 championships in a row. If you win 4 championships in a row, you get a big benefit of the doubt. Like that's just how it works. But yeah, I have Cloud9 beating 100 Thieves. I just think that if they're able to perform like they did in week 1 and 100 Thieves struggle against Golden Guardians, I know sure you can say Cloud9 struggle against Golden Guardians, but for a lot less amount of time. You will.
Yep. I also have Cloud9, obviously, in this game.
Yep.
I think it's a similar thing to Immortals. I think Immortals and 100 Thieves didn't look super hot in either game that they played, and weren't convincing in either win that they got. I think this could be a potential trap game for Cloud9 if they get complacent, but I think it could also be just a really easy win if they get through it. I think, especially because Blabber historically has had a great time against Meteos in the jungle.
Yeah.
Talking about that CLG game with Wiggly punishing Meteos, I think if there's Blabber punished Closer
Yes.
in this meta.
He's gonna.
He
for
literally
sure.
he read Closer like a book and chilled in the Rift Herald pit until Closer went top lane and then killed him.
Yep. That was very impressive.
So I think top to bottom, especially like you talk about mid difference. I think Niski, if he keeps up like his play, he's already looking like one of the top 2 mids in the split. Him and Froggen right now.
And Power of Evil.
Yeah,
And
like, they're all
Jensen
getting up there. Jensen when he's not playing them.
Yeah.
I think mid difference could be strong. Mid jungle could be strong. I think Licorice and Someday is always a fun matchup to watch. I love these two like randomly solo killing each other in like the past was always fun. It's great to see them play against each other again. And then you get Cody's son versus his old lane partner.
Oh yeah, that would be actually pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah,
And think about that.
But it's one of the things where I have faith in every one of C9's lanes, and I have faith in their ability to play as a team.
Yep, my situation, like I think the lanes are fairly even except for mid lane and jungle. The meta I think is better for Blabber than is Meteos, but I think that C9 as a team is playing much better than Thunder Thieves. All right,
And then last game
day
2.
Last game for day 2, game number 8, Immortals versus Golden Guardians. Brian has picked Immortals. I have picked Immortals. Ryan?
I'm going with Golden Guardians.
Nice.
Grayson, Gregory, Golden Glue, Gilmer is going to hard carry this lane against these Frenchmen.
Okay. I agree with that. My issue is I think the bot lane of Altec and Hakuo is going to do very well against FBI and Keith.
Nah, dude, Keith's just gonna break out that Morgana support.
Okay.
He's gonna bait the Thresh, and then pick Morgana.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's
fine.
And then he's gonna miss the Black Shield.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be dude. It's gonna be fine. He's gonna somehow misclick. He's gonna misclick Altec and give him the Black Shield.
Yep, that's exactly how it's gonna work. Yeah,
No, dude. No,
this game is.
I think the thing that we just haven't figured out yet is that
I know.
the only thing that they just haven't figured out is that Keith can just play Senna because she's a support and a marksman.
You
It's
could.
perfect.
You could.
Perfect
Senna's
for it.
really annoying as a support too because you just have so much raw
The
damage.
meta's just not right for Keith right now. That's all.
That's it.
Toucan just hasn't arrived yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Idol also has Golden Guardians.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk too much about that game. That's going to be a snooze fest.
Nah, dude, Closer's gonna make it exciting.
Yeah, Closer might, but the rest of the teams, not so much. All right, Monday Night League.
Monday night.
We're past 2 hours. Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
go. We gotta go. Dignitas versus FlyQuest. This is a great game.
Yeah.
The true game.
God, there's like 3 match of the week candidates here.
How dare you, Idol? Hang on a second. You like the
Dignitas
Golden...
versus
No,
TL, versus Fly,
stop,
then
Ryan.
Fly versus
Ryan,
Dig.
stop. Idol just said he likes the Golden Guardians logo better than the Immortals logo. There's a random helmet with the teal logo. That is like my favorite logo in all of esports. You take that back.
But what if you combine both logos?
And then you got like a sword, shield, and helmet. Actually,
Exactly.
that's not that.
That's red.
Hang on a second.
Oh, the Immortal Guardians.
That's not terrible. You know, maybe
The Immortal. Oh, this the new IG. The It's the new IG, Immortal Guardians.
Oh, there we
It's
go.
literally a sword going through a helmet with a shield behind it. That's sick.
Interesting. It's not terrible. Not terrible. All
Crack
right.
the code.
All right.
Combine these two bottom tier teams, and
You
we'll
get
get a
IG.
playoff team.
You get IG. All right.
Yes, you get a world champion.
Redo. Focus. We gotta go.
Fly versus
Dignitas.
Dignitas.
Dignitas. I have FlyQuest because, like you said, you can't go against nature. But no, I just believe in the Fly super aggressive style. I have Fly slightly better than Dignitas. Well, you guys have Dignitas slightly better than Fly. So, because like Brian has Dignitas, and I'm sure you can tell what Ryan has with just how the predictions have gone, or just the explanations as well. You also have Dignitas, right?
Yep. I mean, I had them ranked higher in my power rankings for a reason.
Yep.
I wanna put 'em up there.
We're all sold on both these teams.
Yep.
We're just sold in a little bit different variants.
Yep. It's just one of those things where I think Dignitas won't let FlyQuest get away with as much as other teams may have, and I think they just barely edge them out.
Idol's with me for once again with Fly going 4-0 and staying number 1 for the power of nature. Love it. I love it.
But hey, man, me and Idol, we believe in the power of Golden Guardians to not go with winless.
Yes, which is a stronger belief.
They're better than that. They're better than being 0-4.
Now we have what's supposed to be match of the week, but honestly, who would have thought FlyQuest versus Dignitas would be such a better matchup than TSM versus Chronologic Gaming? And
we're peaking early in the day.
Yeah, for sure. TSM versus Chronologic CLG is going to be very slow. It's going to be another. If you want to watch this game to go to sleep to, it's perfect. It's at 9:30 p.m. The game will be over by 11. It's going to be just like Immortals TSM. Nothing is going to change. They're both two teams that are not proactive whatsoever, and we're gonna have the same situation. We're gonna have 2 to 3 barons.
Hey now. TSM's proactive.
At the first 15 minutes.
As long as the timer hasn't clicked past 15 minutes.
So as long as TSM can win the
fine.
game in pre-15 minutes, then you might be fine. Yeah. If not, then
we're all doomed.
Yeah, we're all doomed again, and we're going to be talking about this last. So we're probably going to skip it. But to wrap it up, I have TSM actually winning this game and bouncing back. I think that they're just... I just feel like they gotta bounce back. I think they have the better players, and like they're just gonna get a raw win. Kind of like how Immortals, I wouldn't say has the better players, but like kind of how Immortals just squeaked out that win against TSM. I have the same feeling, the exact same scenario is gonna happen, but TSM's gonna squeak it out against CLG. Brian is CLG because he's CLG fanboy to the death. Even though he says he's gonna change, he's never going to.
Homer.
He's never going to.
Leaves It's going 0-2 to 2-0. Oh, sorry, 2-2.
Yeah, they go 0-2 and then
it's a 2-0 weekend, but he's going 2-2 total.
He literally has them go 0-2, is done with the team, and they picks him to go 2-0. That's a dedicated fan right there.
Yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen because we all stopped believing in CLG, so they get.
I never believed in CLG.
Then we put them back, and then they start sucking again.
All right, what do you got? Final one.
I got TSM.
Same thing as me.
I think I think they'll probably do well in the first 15 minutes, and I think that CLG won't be in position to actually contest them in the mid game, so TSM will kind of just do whatever they want. They'll actually be able to play out the game that they want, and not have resistance.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
I will say has CLG because he thinks that Kaba is going to fail on an A.
Oh my god. I mean, that didn't stop Sven from beating CLG. I mean, they did lose that one time, but I will say this too: if my predictions go right, that first Monday Night League game is going to be even more hype.
Yeah, for sure.
It's literally the two teams beat Liquid and then play each other.
Yeah, that'll be super hype game. But all right, with that, Idol, please give me what you got for your first week, like standings wise or prediction wise. But with that, we'll go to our players or eyes on for the week, I should say. Eyes on for the week from Ryan was Broxa.
Mostly because I don't know where he is.
You just want eyes on him, you know.
I don't know if he's here or not. This is also the honorary Jackie Love Award, where we don't know if he's here to be here and playing.
I agree with that. And then my eyes on for the week is a little out of the box, but mine is just FlyQuest. I think this is
Just the entire logo.
just the entire logo. FlyQuest.
It's just a picture of a tree.
Yeah, I should have done that. Damn it. But I just want to see them. I think this is a very, very big. I'll keep 6-4. I don't. Okay, I'll keep it. But you're one ahead of me then. But I think if they are able to beat Team Liquid and Dignitas this week, we are looking at a spring split favorite, in my opinion, because I've been waiting for an NA team to take the LPL style. And if they start out 4-0 with victories against Dignitas and Team Liquid, oof, I will be all in on FlyQuest. I just said spring split champion if they win 2-0 this week.
If they go 4-0 to start, they're spring split champions.
Yeah, just end it there.
It's gonna be awesome. It's one of the things where the narrative in NA is gonna be amazing. If Cloud9 wins out this week after beating TL themselves, Dignitas and FlyQuest both beat TL, and then one of them and then they play each other, and then they conceivably somehow get a draw, so they all remain undefeated. And then Cloud9 will play both of them.
You could clip that, by the way, anyone, of me saying FlyQuest spring split champions, and that could be used as a failed compilation, or 200 IQ genius.
It's like Brock predicting Sneaky would not be playing on Cloud9.
Yeah, in spring split in January he predicted it.
Yeah, predicted it over a year ago now.
And I think that I also don't take that out of context. I did say if they beat Team Liquid and Dignitas, not if. Just in general.
I'm going to take it out of context. You literally just said FlyQuest are going to win spring.
Just cut everything else.
The flowers will bloom, and so will the trees.
Oh, man. But yeah, that should be it for the podcast. But before we go, we did want to talk briefly about the coronavirus in China and having the LPL canceled. That is very scary stuff. I saw Mark Z was upset and saying that it was canceled. And just from a health standard, it's very scary. And I mean, obviously... We know this. We don't There's a lot of misinformation and hidden information, I believe. Say what you will about certain things, and I think that.
Let's try not to get too political.
Yeah, not get too
on a over 2 hour podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that just hopefully I did see there was a cure for the first one, and the second strand they're still working on a cure. So hopefully they get that resolved soon. I'm very curious, keeping it league based. Okay. The LPL was supposed to come back. Let's pull it up here. I'm gonna go to the match review here, guys, just for this. The LPL, let's cancel LCS, was supposed to come back February 10th. It's not coming back February 10th.
Yeah, I think they said they postponed it for a week.
Indefinitely, not a week.
Well, I know the official post was indefinitely, but then I think it was the very first announcement was 1 week, and that's why the schedule is like it is.
Mm-hmm. So
it's 1 week past the new year.
No, because they were going to start on the 10th either way.
Okay.
And so the 10th was the comeback day. They're not going to start that week, so they're at minimum they're going to start on the 17th.
Oh no, it's misinformation.
Wait. Was it the 10th? No, they might have came back on the 6th. I don't remember. I think you might be right there. So that's either way.
To answer Idol, it's indefinitely suspended at this point.
It's indefinitely it's not
which means that it seems like they'll do week 2 in the LPL
when they can
at some point
when they can. And I just want to say that keeping it on a league standard, scary stuff. Hopefully all the players are okay. Like I'd all said previously, Jackie Love, who's not technically a player right now, but the Shy, I believe Uzi, even Clement, I think they're all in quarantine zones. They're all I
think I heard someone say that the Shy was actually in Korea right now.
Oh, is the Shy in Korea? Okay.
Yeah, I think they said something that the Shy that I can't remember if it was the Shy in particular, but I think it was one of the Korean imports in China was actually in Korea at the time. And they were speaking on terms of practice and how badly this might affect LPL teams, and they're saying that they're probably not going to be able to practice even if they're quarantined indoors.
Yeah,
you think they would just get nothing but practice, but
if someone gets sick,
they said a lot of but then they're also saying some players are not even in the country right now. So, they might have the Shy was probably out of country for Chinese New Year.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And but I don't know what the LPL does, frankly, because it's not from a scheduling standpoint, like work with me here. What do you do? Play with this question here. What do you do from a scheduling standpoint? The LPL plays 7 days a week now. Already. That was already in the... So you can't make up days. Like, okay, like if this happened in NA, let's relate this back to NA. Say something like this happened. And then, like, after a month, they were able to... So they missed 4 weeks. So because that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm thinking the LPL... I don't have any basis in that. No facts. No nothing. That's just gut instinct. This is going to take roughly 4 weeks after Chinese New Year to resolve. So I'm thinking they don't come back until March. Like the very beginning of March. And what do they do? Because they can't play multiple, I guess days. They can't have, unless they have 4 games a week or a day, maybe they just double up. But
and apparently Uzi left immediately.
Uzi left immediately. I did not know that.
Well, that's good.
That's good for him.
Hopefully he can stay safe and healthy then.
Yeah. Good.
And for all those still left out there, just wishing the best for them. Obviously.
And yes, they can't. They maybe play 4 a week, but you also like the next option is usually to cut the season in half or so. And each team plays 3 times a week. Yeah, but if you cut the season in half, certain teams won't play each other. So, like, how is that fair? If like, do you just get the short end?
Not to mention, how does that cut down in terms of team practice time?
Oh, team practice time is going to cut down a lot.
Exactly. And then then it comes. It's going to be a real hairy situation.
In my eyes, like team practice is okay to cut down because it sucks on an international level. Like depending on how long this goes, like LPL might be very weak in MSI, and it's like the excuse I use for Team Liquid. That's a boring crap excuse compared to what LPL team they get a free pass no matter what. If like they have like a whole month off type situation, I won't blame them for looking bad on the international stage whatsoever.
And if they show up and they still win, it makes it look that much better.
Switch to best of 1. I know that actually might not. The issue is they all play in different stadiums for the most part. I mean, there's certain stadiums. So yeah, you'd have to like redo the whole schedule, make it so the teams that are in the same stadium kind of just play off against each other right off, like boom, 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 and play best of 1. I think that's a very good idea. I think that would be the only way, because you have to, in my opinion, you have to keep the same amount of schedule to make it fair to every team. Because like if certain teams get IG and certain teams don't, or certain teams get like Billy and certain teams don't, like. And then they only get like...
Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome. But they get like Team WE. Like that's... on a competitive... just purely league standing, like competitive integrity, that kind of throws that away a little bit, Like it's an artificial rank. Like, oh, cool, you were able to beat Vici Gaming Victory 5, but you didn't get to face Billy and stuff like that. Like... Sorry, Vici Gaming's better now. Sorry, Victory 5 Team WE. Is that better? But yeah, I think I actually like that idea a lot. If China, weirdly enough, we've been asking for best of 3s in Team Liquid, but or Team Liquid, NA.
That's the long game. The long con from North America is make every other region play best of ones.
Yeah. So if everyone plays in Shanghai, that's possible too. Like you just get everyone to play best of 1s. You just do like 6 games a day or so. For the next 6 best of 1s a day, instead of 2 series, you're getting 6 done, so you're 3 times faster. So I guess that would be the only way, in my opinion.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all speculation right now. Like I said, we don't even know like what the timetable is for them to come for them to even get the situation cleared up, much less be in any sort of working order to resume league operations.
Yeah, it's a situation like that.
It's all speculation. Like you say. 4 weeks if they get this straight. Like
yeah,
how long has it been?
As
I say, that's the same. How long has it been since it's broken out, and how much progress have we made? It could be shorter, or maybe this strand is a lot harder to actually crack down, or maybe another strand pops up, and now you have a whole nother set of issues.
Yeah, you're the nurse here. Like, you got more expertise here than any. And even then, I guess you probably don't have expertise in this specific virus, obviously either.
Oh no. I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of times if you catch things off guard, catch anyone off guard, that's how outbreaks happen. It's ignorance or just negligence when it comes to handling certain issues.
In China's like super populated situation, so it'll get breakout super quickly.
Wash your hands, kids.
Yep, yeah, and like we
It
said,
can save your life.
we don't get a lot of information out of China, and like so we don't even know. Some of the players could even be sick now, for all we know. Like we just don't know. We just don't know right now, and it's hopefully
and it's like
that's the scariest part. Is there's all unknown.
And we could talk about trying to make it keep it like as a league thing and doing it in league terms, but in the end of the day, league is defined by well, it's not just irrelevant, but it's defined as much by the players as anything. We watch these people play as a team and as individuals, and at the end of the day, that they're the ones that we watch. They're the ones that matter right now when it comes to this league, and their safety therefore is paramount.
Oh, absolutely.
It needs to be. It's about them. We can speculate all what we want about the situation at hand and about getting them back to league play, and so that we can actually watch them and continue as normal. But for right now, we all just kind of just keep an ear out, listen, see and kind of just go with the flow with whatever they end up deciding to do. But at the end of the day, we just kind of have to just look out for the players, and hopefully Riot in China, Tencent, whoever's involved out there, they are similar and they are looking out for the welfare of the players and the people and all the other people involved with the LPL. So
yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. It's terrible that happened. Hopefully it gets better soon. Like like I said, we're hopefully gonna find out relatively soon when it gets better, but we'll really know once we hear from the LPL and hear that they're starting operations, like you said, or just like getting in progress again to start things. Like I bet like just to get things started again, it's probably gonna take at least a week to get everything fully operational, and like so, like I said, I'm thinking 4 weeks. That's just a gut thing. But it could be shorter. It could be, like you said, only 1 week, which would be really nice. I don't think that would cause too much issues. You might lose the week. You would just have to lose the week, like, in between regular season ending and playoffs. But, like, outside of that, I think that if you do any more, there's going to be some drastic measures that they're just going to have to take. Hopefully all the players stay safe. Hopefully nothing bad happens to any of them as well. That would be really scary. And but, yeah, I think that should be it. If there's anything else you want to add before we wrap up and go? Because we're 2 hours.
I think this is it's probably a good place to stop.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I had nothing else to say really.
All right. That will be it for today's podcast. Thank you guys for watching. I saw we edited. I guess it was on a sad note, but it's just felt like we did have to mention it as we haven't had a podcast since the LPL decided to postpone, and so. But yeah, that will be it for this podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Idol, for your predictions and participation and hanging in here for the entire 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's a good participation award right there, for sure. And we'll see if your predictions are actually going to be better than ours. It'll be quite interesting. And then you can just have bragging rights on the screen, which is what I'll just have to remove chat from the screen the whole time because no one wants to watch that. But yeah. All right. That will be all. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for LEC. All right. Good night.